Chapter 927. It had to be known that Jing Zhantian was a prominent figure in the Endless Sea. He was the prince of the Whale clan, and was extremely talented. Relying on his clan's innate talent, he was tyrannical and almost invincible. But in the eyes of this human, such a proud son of heaven, a seed of a king, was merely a little capable, an insignificant existence that could survive a single punch. Even if he looked down on others, there should be a limit. Many sea demons glared at Xiaoping angrily, as if they wanted to eat this human alive. Although Jing Zhantian was the one who had lost face, he was also a member of the Sea Demon clan. If he lost face, it would be the same as the entire Sea Demon clan losing face. With a swoosh, Zhang Ming, the prince of the Octopus clan, jumped out. Human, Jing Zhantian only has a little ability. What about my ability? In the blink of an eye, his 8 hands danced in the air, each holding a treasured saber that could cut through iron as if it were mud. Each of these treasured sabers was not simple. They had been forged from deep frigid iron by a grandmaster blacksmith, along with countless precious materials, over a period of 49 days. It could be said that these 8 treasured sabers were incomparably terrifying. They were all compatible with the power of the Octopus clan. With a single slash, saber chi would sweep out, and even a small mountain would be split in half. Zhang Ming did not hold back. He immediately attacked Xiaoping, using the Octopus clan's saber technique. Universe 8 Saber Stream. Swoosh. Swoosh. In that instant, the 8 treasured sabers attacked at the same time. 8 terrifying saber lights attacked at the same time, as if they were going to split the earth in half. So strong. Many sea demons' pupils shrank. They were all shocked by the Octopus Prince's battle prowess. Even among the sea demons, the Octopus clan was considered one of the strongest. It had 8 hands, and each of them was as nimble as a human's. Now that these 8 hands were waving at the same time, it was like 8 people attacking Xiaoping. He might be able to block 1 or 2 sabers, but he might not be able to block 5 or 8 sabers. This was the terror of the Octopus clan. As long as one was hit by 8 sabers, they would undoubtedly die. Not bad saber technique. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. He could also see that Zhang Ming's strength was extraordinary. He had reached the peak of the Supreme Power Realm at the 8th heaven. He was only 1 step away from the Supreme Power Realm at the 9th heaven. Its sword Dao cultivation had reached the acme of perfection. It was estimated that it had immersed itself in sword Dao cultivation for at least 20 to 30 years. It trained hard every day and never slacked off. Every time he swung the knife, it was as if he was extending his arm. He was extremely agile, and did not waste any energy. He was like a brilliant surgeon performing a precise surgery. Moreover, the other party had 8 arms, and his talent was astonishing. If an ordinary human were to encounter him, it would be practically impossible for them to defeat him. The difference between them was too great. This kind of talent was like the legendary martial path Mystique, 3 heads and 6 arms. However, no matter how powerful it was, Xiaoping did not take it seriously. The difference between them was too great. After witnessing the fist technique of the sage, this so-called knife technique was simply full of mistakes. He didn't even need to dodge. Dark North body protection technique. Xiaoping stepped out. His hands turned into a circle, and the tyrannical Gang Qi burst out from his 108,000 pores, instantly forming a huge Qi shield, covering his whole body. At the same time, there seemed to be a huge Kunping rising behind him, wandering in the void, constantly shaking its tail, setting off huge waves in the void rumbling. Bang bang bang. In a flash, Zhang Ming's attack came in an instant. 8 terrifying saber lights fiercely slashed on the Qi shield. Suddenly there was a clanging sound, as if it was slashing on steel, splashing a lot of sparks. But no matter how he attacked, the Qi shield was still as firm as a rock, and could not be shaken. What? Zhang Ming was shocked. He found that his treasure saber couldn't cause any harm to Xiaoping's defensive qigong. It seemed to be in an absolute defense. Even its 8 hands felt numb, and the frightening rebounding force from the defensive barrier almost caused its treasured saber to fly out of its hands. Take my punch. Xiaoping didn't show any mercy. He rushed forward and punched the air. This punch was like a Kunping swinging its tail, its huge body charging forward. This kind of power was like the primordial god Gonggong smashing into Mount Buzhou, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. This punch even contained the power of a vortex, a spiral force that created an enormous suction force. It locked onto Zhang Ming's aura, sealing all of his movements and leaving him nowhere to run. No way. Is this the punch that Jing Zhantian just faced? How could it be so terrifying that I can't even escape? Previously, Zhang Ming had looked down on Jing Zhantian, thinking that Jing Zhantian didn't live up to his name. He was clearly from the powerful whale race, but he couldn't even block a punch from a puny human. But now that he was facing Xia Ping's punch, he realized that his thinking was wrong, completely wrong. When this punch came, it felt like endless darkness had enveloped his soul, as if he had fallen into a vortex, with nowhere to run. It also felt like he was being surrounded by countless evil spirits, tearing at his soul. This was a punch that surpassed the king level, reaching a mysterious realm. Even if he was an invincible king, he didn't think that a master realm martial artist could display such power. This was already beyond the limits of the martial arts of the sky realm. This was not a martial art of mortals. Dong! This punch hit Zhang Ming. It was like a morning bell or evening drum, emitting a crisp sound. Countless streams of air exploded, and a terrifying force blasted toward Zhang Ming's body. In an instant, his entire body was sent flying, sliding across the ground for 2 or 3 kilometers. Even the 8 arms on its body were broken and drenched in blood. The 8 treasured sabers also fell to the ground with a clanking sound, creating deep pits and sending sparks flying in all directions. Pfft! Zhang Ming fell to the ground, heavily injured. He couldn't help but cough up a mouthful of blood as he looked at the human Xia Ping in shock. As the saying went, a person's name was like a tree's shadow. Now he finally understood that this monstrous genius whose name resounded throughout the human world, who was viewed as a great emperor by the entire myriad demon mountain, was not as simple as he had imagined. His strength and martial arts were extraordinary, as if there was a divine beast living inside this human's body. Many sea demons looked at this scene in shock. They couldn't accept that Jing Zhantian had lost. But now, even the famous Zhang Ming couldn't withstand a single blow from this human. If they weren't standing there, they would have thought that they were hallucinating. No way, even Zhang Ming isn't a match for this human. How can he be so powerful? This doesn't make sense. It makes too much sense. Many sea demons clenched their fists, staring at this human Xia Ping. Who else wants to die? Chapter 928. You're courting death. Hearing Xia Ping's arrogant words, Hai Ping's face darkened to the extreme, as black as ink. The sea demons that knew him knew that he was on the verge of exploding in anger. Being humiliated by Xia Ping like this, a proud prince like him simply could not stand it. If Xia Ping was his subordinate, he would have been killed dozens of times, and his entire clan would have been exterminated. See, Prince, this human is just an invader. We don't need to be polite with him. That's right. Let's attack together and capture him. Attacking one by one is stupid. We are at war. There's no need to talk about morality with him. Many sea demons stared at Xia Ping with murderous intent. Originally, they thought that a sea demon prodigy would be able to end this human. But now that they saw Xia Ping's strength, they realized that this idea was too naive. But even so, it did not matter. They had the advantage in numbers, and they were still in their nest. No matter how powerful this little human was, could he overturn the heavens? Kill. Hai Ping's answer was very simple, only one word, but it showed the murderous intent in his heart. Even if he had to use all his subordinates, he would make this human stay here forever. Daring to offend the Sea Dragon Prince, this humiliation must be washed away with blood. Human, go to hell and repent. In an instant, 3 swordfish grandmasters jumped out from the left. Their heads were pointed like sharp arrows. Don't be fooled by their strange appearance. They were the fastest of all the sea demons. When sailing in the sea, they were like sharp arrows shuttling back and forth. Anything in front of them would be pierced in an instant. Nothing could stop them. Even titanium alloy was as fragile as tofu in front of them. Ordinary swordfish would surpass the speed of sound when swimming in the sea. As swordfish grandmasters, Their speed was even more terrifying. Often, when humans sailed on the sea, they would be pierced through by the swordfish clan in an instant, and the entire ship would sink to the bottom of the endless sea. They were also known as the sonic killers of the sea. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Sonic booms reverberated all around as the three swordfish clan grandmasters attacked with terrifying killing intent, aiming at the vital parts of Xiaoping's body. The human's head belongs to my electric eel clan. All other sea demons scram. The three grandmasters of the electric eel clan attacked from the right. They were not willing to fall behind, and their speed was almost as fast as the swordfish clan. The electric eel clan was known as the lightning controller of the sea. Their bodies contained a strong electric current. Even when they were still infants, they were still extremely dangerous creatures. The slightest touch would cause an electric current that could electrocute a human to death. Not to mention, the grandmasters of the electric eel clan could control the power of thunder in their bodies to the acme of perfection. They could even release tens of thousands of volts of electricity in an instant, charring their entire bodies. Zzz. In the void, blue electric currents immediately filled the air. They were as thick as a finger, and suddenly, hundreds of them appeared. They all bombarded Xiaoping's body in a frenzy, covering the entire area. Humans also seem to be very delicious. I wonder what exactly this human genius tastes like. My shellfish race will give it a try. The three grandmasters of the shellfish race charged out from the middle. Their bodies were wrapped in a giant shell, which was engraved with mysterious ancient inscriptions. It contained a mysterious power, and there seemed to be a special energy shield covering their entire bodies. The shellfish race had an extremely strong defense, and it was not inferior to the sea turtle race. The defense of their shells was off the charts. Even if dozens of missiles exploded, they would not be able to harm their bodies in the slightest. They even had a devouring power. Once an enemy was completely covered by their shells, they would quickly devour the enemy along with their bones. Their bodies would quickly secrete a terrifying sulfuric acid liquid, which would quickly melt the enemy's body. Many sea demons were terrified of the shellfish race. It was said that the shellfish race was known as the gourmet of the sea. They had devoured countless creatures in the endless sea, and were an extremely terrifying race with a cruel nature. The 9 great sea demon grandmasters attacked at the same time. Even a peak grandmaster monster would not have much luck. Many sea demons felt that this human was dead for sure. There was no reason for him to live. A bunch of seafood dares to clamor in front of me? Die. Xiaoping did not even look at them. He stomped on the ground like an ancient bull trampling on the earth. The entire hall, the entire city lord's mansion, or the area within a radius of 10 kilometers with Xiaoping's body as the center, shook violently. In an instant from Xiaoping's body, a terrifying shockwave spread out, condensing into a solid substance. It was like the sound waves of the sea, stacking layer by layer and spreading out. It also contained the power of a spiritual attack, which fiercely bombarded the souls of the 9 great sea demon grandmasters. The 9 great sea demon grandmasters had not even reached Xiaoping's side. There was a distance of 5 or 6 meters between them, but they were immediately hit by the power of the sound waves. It was as if they had been hit on the back of the head by a hammer. The power was accurate and brutal, leaving no room for maneuver. The first to bear the brunt were the 3 swordfish grandmasters. They were horrified. Because they were the fastest, they were the vanguard. So they were the first to be unlucky. Boom! Xiaoping's fist smashed out like a meteor smashing into the ground. The air was beaten into a barrier, condensing into a solid substance, and instantly bombarded the bodies of the 3 swordfish grandmasters. Aha! The 3 swordfish grandmasters let out shrill screams as they were hit by the fist. The terrifying spiral force exploded in their bodies, as if several tons of explosives had exploded at the same time. With a boom, they immediately exploded in midair, disintegrating into a mass of meat paste. Oh no! Seeing the 3 swordfish grandmasters die with a single punch, their bodies exploding and turning into meat paste, the 3 electric eel grandmasters were horrified. All the cells in their bodies trembled, and every cell was filled with a strong sense of crisis. It was as if the god of death was standing in front of them, smiling. They could not wait to immediately turn around and run. But it was already too late. Xiaoping closed in on them and slapped them. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of lightning bolts were instantly annihilated under this palm, turning into nothingness. It was as if they had been neutralized by the energy, disappearing completely. Boom! The 3 electric eel grandmasters were caught off guard, and were immediately sent flying by Xiaoping's slap. They were unable to put up any resistance, and just flew in mid-air. They flew for a full 2 or 3 kilometers before finally smashing into a hard concrete wall in the distance. With a crack, they were immediately slammed into the wall, hanging there like a painting. Their eyes were wide open, blood flowed from the corners of their mouths, and their internal organs were shattered. Chapter 929. Seeing Grandmaster Electric Eel and Grandmaster Swordfish die with a single palm and a single punch respectively, the Seashell Grandmasters, who had claimed that they wanted to eat Xiaoping, were so scared that they peed their pants. All the shells on their bodies retracted. They were filled with lingering fear. If they had been just a little bit faster, they would have ended up like the Grandmasters in front of them, easily beaten into a pile of dregs by Xiaoping. Not good, this brat is coming. Run! But very quickly, the 3 Seashell Grandmasters were scared half to death. Their pupils constricted. Xiaoping did not plan on letting them go. His figure flickered, leaving behind a series of afterimages in his original position. He was like a rock that flew through the air. In just a breath's time, he had neared the 3 Seashell Grandmasters and immediately kicked them. The power of this kick was not to be underestimated. It was like the legendary heavenly crippling kick that had the power to shake mountains. They all felt that Xiaoping's kick contained a terrifying whirlpool power. The air formed a whirlpool that was like a meat grinder. Once they were sucked in, not even their bones would be left. Seashell Race secret technique, absolute defense. The 3 Seashell Grandmasters loudly shouted. The shells on their bodies immediately closed, and the ancient inscriptions on the shells trembled, emitting a deep blue energy barrier that spread outwards. Even the energy barriers between them fused together, forming a massive domain that covered a radius of several hundred meters. It seemed to isolate all energy. He actually used the Seashell Race's secret technique. Many of the sea demons were shocked. They had never thought that a tiny human would be able to force the Seashell Grandmasters to use their ultimate technique. This was basically a life-saving technique. Once the Seashell Race's secret technique was used, they would sacrifice a large portion of their attack power and use all of their power to carry out an absolute defense. The power of different Seashell Grandmasters could even fuse and evolve, making their defense even stronger. It was precisely because of this secret technique that the Seashell Race could run amok in the endless sea and swallow everything. They were known as the Taotai of the endless sea, but not many races could do anything to them. However, if they wanted to use this secret technique, it was a matter of life and death. After all, every time they used it, they would consume a large amount of their bloodline power and damage their foundation. Thus, they did not want to use it unless they had no other choice. Absolute defense. Truly a frog at the bottom of a well. This world is very big, and there are many martial arts that can break through the defenses of the shell race. Xiaoping coldly laughed, and did not care at all as he continued to kick. Ever since he fought with the Saint image in the universe virtual network, it had greatly broadened his horizons. He no longer cared about ordinary martial arts. He could instantly see through the flaws. Although the stellar chi of these 3 Seashells Grandmasters was extremely powerful, and could even strengthen each other, in the eyes of his golden crow eye, they were full of mistakes. In an instant, he found more than 10 flaws. Dong! This kick ruthlessly landed on the weak point of the absolute defense. Immediately, the entire chi cover exploded, and the tyrannical spiraling force bombarded the body of the 3-headed Seashell Grandmaster. The 3 of them immediately let out mournful screams. To their horror, they discovered that their shells could not withstand the spiraling energy. It directly penetrated their shell's defense and seeped into their internal organs. In just a second, their bodies flew out and exploded in mid-air. Their insides turned into mush, and only 3 shells were left on the spot, clanging loudly. They're all dead. Many sea demons were dumbfounded, and deep shock appeared in the depths of their eyes. They had never thought that such a thing would happen. 9 great sea demon grandmasters had attacked at the same time, to kill a human grandmaster. Now, not only had they not caused any harm to the human grandmaster, but they had been killed by a punch, a palm and a kick. They had died in a very vexed manner. This human was really too strong. Go die. Dragon King Halberd. The moment Xia Ping killed the 9th sea demon grandmaster, the sea dragon prince Haiping suddenly moved. He felt that he couldn't continue like this. Otherwise, this human would definitely start a massacre and kill all the sea demon grandmasters present. He saw that Xia Ping had a flaw in that instant, and instantly took out his halberd. Like a real dragon, it tore through the air and stabbed toward Xia Ping's back. The power of this halberd was extremely terrifying. Whether it was the angle, power, or speed, they all reached the level of a peak grandmaster. No grandmaster demon would be able to withstand this attack. Moreover, this was a perfect sneak attack. While Xia Ping had no strength to fight back and was careless, he launched a fatal attack to stab Xia Ping to death with one blow. Vaguely, the surrounding sea demons seemed to see the surrounding astral energy congealing into the shape of a sea dragon, roaring in the void, shaking heaven and earth. It opened its mouth wide, as if it wanted to swallow Xia Ping whole. This was the famous peerless martial art of the Sea Dragon clan, the Dragon King Halberd. When the halberd struck, it was like the Dragon King had come to life, with the power to stir the sea, summon the wind and summon the rain. It was invincible and invincible. You want to kill me? You're not qualified. Xia Ping sneered. Under the coverage of his mental strength, there was almost no blind spot. This Haiping thought that he could sneak attack him. He wanted to laugh his head off. With a bang, he grabbed the void and immediately grabbed the spear of hell from the space ring. Immediately, this weapon from hell was filled with a terrible aura. With the spear of hell as the center, it immediately covered a bloody world, as if falling into the Avicii hell. Without so much as a glance, he hurled the hell spear over. Rumble, the spear of hell spun violently in the air, producing a terrible piercing force. It tore through the void and attacked the sea rock with lightning speed. Dong! With just one strike, the Dragon King in the air seemed to be immediately penetrated, from the head to the tail. The surrounding chi of heaven and earth collapsed inch by inch. This spear was simply like the spear of dragon slaying. Not good. The sea rock screamed. He could feel the horror of this spear. A faint bloody light appeared on the tip of the spear, and there seemed to be many remnant souls of hell creatures left on it. He seemed to see a picture of hell. A spear was stabbed into the bloody ground, and a bloody moon hung in the sky. There were many corpses of gods and demons around it. Blood flowed like a river, forming a mountain of corpses. It was filled with an ancient aura. Bang! The Sea Dragon clan's eldest prince was unable to resist. His right arm was instantly penetrated by the spear of hell. His entire body was pushed back by the powerful impact. In the end, he was nailed to a wall 3 kilometers away. The spear of hell buzzed, and its tail trembled. Blood dripped from the wound and scattered on the ground. This. Chapter 930. How is it? Did you pee your pants? Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Haiping indifferently. I deliberately missed this shot. I didn't kill you for the time being to let you know that I can kill you at any time I want. In my eyes, the so-called Sea Dragon clan is like a reptile. I can trample it to death whenever I want. He looked down at the prince of the Sea Dragon clan, as if he was looking at an ant. Hearing this, Haiping was shocked and angry, ashamed and annoyed. As the prince of the Sea Dragon clan, he had a noble status and amazing talent. He had long been used to being domineering in the underwater world. Except for his father, the Sea Dragon King. Who else could he take seriously? Even if it was an ordinary king, he didn't care at all. Relying on his identity as the prince of the Sea Dragon clan, he was extremely arrogant, and no one dared to disrespect him. Now a human had almost killed him. If the other party's hand had been a little bit shaken, he would have really died and met his ancestors directly. He was extremely resentful of this human, who dared to humiliate him in public. He roared, Go, kill this human together. Kill him, skin him and pull out his tendons. Haipeng had completely lost his mind. He ordered his subordinates to attack together. No matter what they had to do, they had to kill this shameless human who dared to humiliate him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as he said that, the sea demon grandmasters present looked at each other. They didn't say anything, but they instantly closed in on Xiaoping, surrounding him tightly. Some used long swords. Some used halberds. Some used tentacles. Some were bare-handed. But each of them had at least reached the 8th sky of the Supreme Power Realm. And there were even sea demons at the 9th sky of the Supreme Power Realm. Their faces were ferocious, and they wanted to kill this human being and crush him into pieces. Dozens of terrifying Gang Chi attacks came, just like dozens of missiles, containing the power to destroy a small island. The power was terrible. Is it useful to attack together? I'll tell you why humans on the land can't be provoked. With a bang, Xiaoping trampled on the ground, and at the same time, he used the precious weapon, the soul-absorbing bell. This precious weapon immediately made a clanging sound. With its body as the center, mysterious spiritual fluctuations invisible to the naked eye spread out, covering a radius of 2 or 3 kilometers. What? All of a sudden, many sea demon grandmasters were shocked. As Xiaoping stomped on the ground, the entire space underwent a huge change. It was as if they had been pulled into another world. The soul-absorbing bell's power was unleashed, causing all of them to hallucinate and lose their souls. They felt as if they had arrived in a hellish world. Everywhere was dark, and they stepped on a blood-red ground. There were shocking skeletons everywhere, and blood chi permeated the air. A blood-red moon hung in the sky, and the angry roars of gods and devils could be heard from time to time, causing one's heart to palpitate. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Right at this moment, a series of violent vines flew out from the blood-colored ground, instantly binding all of their limbs, and even their necks tightly. The vines had a pulling force of several tens of tons. No matter how they struggled, they were unable to break free from the demonic vines. They all felt waves of suffocation, as if they were ducks that had fallen into the sea. They were about to drown in the seawater and die of suffocation just like that. Bang bang bang. A few seconds later, they could not withstand the pressure and fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth unconscious. Impossible. What the hell is happening? The sea dragon Prince Haipeng, the octopus Prince Zhang Ming, and the whale Prince Jing Zhantian were all stunned. They did not know what had happened to these sea demon grandmasters. They only saw this human lightly step on the ground. Immediately, these sea demon grandmasters seemed to have been bewitched. They were all dumbstruck and lost their consciousness. In the next second, they foamed at the mouth and fell to the ground, without the strength to fight. No matter how rich their imaginations were, they could not imagine what had happened. This was too strange. This soul-absorbing bell is really powerful. Xiaoping was very satisfied with the power of this artifact. This was a peerless weapon that directly targeted the soul. Only a life form with a powerful soul would be able to resist it. If one's soul was not strong enough, then they would instantly faint under this kind of power. In fact, if he wanted to deliberately target an enemy, he could even shake them into an idiot. This was a powerful weapon for group attacks. No matter how many enemies there were, they would be useless in front of the soul-absorbing bell. Human you, what did you do to my subordinates? Haipeng could not help but scream. He stared at Xiaoping. For the first time, he felt fear towards a puny human. He could not fight him at all. No, this might not be a human at all. He was a demon wearing human skin. Pow! Xiaoping stepped forward and slapped him. In an instant, Haipeng was slapped down from the wall. He spun a few times in the air and fell heavily to the ground. His face instantly swelled up like bread. At the same time, a red handprint appeared on his face. 2 or 3 teeth fell out of his mouth. He looked very wretched. What are you screaming for? Did I allow you to speak? Xiaoping looked down at Haipeng, who was lying on the ground. He just looked at him. You! Haipeng was going crazy. With a smack, Xiaoping slapped him again. It was a symmetrical slap, and both sides were swollen. You're still shouting? Do you need a lesson? I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your father. Don't be too grateful to me. Haipeng almost went crazy. Pow pow. Xiaoping slapped him a few more times. His face was swollen like a steamed bun. Blood dripped from his face. He could no longer speak. He did not even have the strength to hate Xiaoping. All right, now you can finally understand human language and know what it means to respect others. This is a good start. Seeing that Haipeng could no longer speak, Xiaoping was very satisfied. He felt that his education was very effective. Effect my ass. Octopus Prince Zhang Ming and the other sea demons were cursing in their hearts. Haipeng was beaten to this state by you. Of course he could not say anything. It would be strange if he could speak. They increasingly felt that this human was simply a demon. He specialized in torturing monsters for fun. Remember, from now on, you just stay in the underwater world obediently. Don't come to land. Even if you come to land, don't provoke humans. Otherwise I will be very angry. The consequences will be quite serious. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. To tell you the truth, your thoughts are quite shallow. You even want to capture the humans of a few islands to threaten me. I don't even know which idiot taught you such foolish actions. Am I someone who can be threatened by you? Chapter 931. Understood. The sea demons that were still conscious all nodded their heads vigorously. They did not dare to provoke this terrifying human at all. Even dozens of Grandmaster monsters were defeated by this human on the spot. Even if they really joined forces, they would not be a match for this terrifying human. Even the most arrogant Haipeng did not dare to say anything. Of course, now that its face was swollen, even if it wanted to say something, it could not say anything. We will immediately release these captured humans immediately. I hope that you are magnanimous and do not kill us. Zhang Ming and the other monsters were all trembling, looking at Xiaoping in horror, afraid that Xiaoping would go crazy and kill them all. One had to know that they were all princes of noble status, with a bright future ahead of them. There was hope that they would be promoted to monster kings. If they died now, they would have nothing left. Don't be anxious. Xiaoping waved his hand and looked at the group of demons. I've said it before. If you dare to kill a human, I'll slaughter an entire city of sea demons. Fortunately, you didn't make a stupid mistake and can still mend your ways. Today, I came here just to say hello to you. Now that you know your mistakes, it is good that you know your mistakes and can mend them. In the future, you are still a good monster. He was arrogant, as if an elder was teaching his grandson. Mend your ass. The group of sea demons were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. He said that this human was fat, and he really began to pant. He actually began to talk to them about the principles of life, as if he was an elder lecturing them. Did this despicable human really think of them as his grandchildren? Even their father had never lectured them like this, but they did not dare to contradict this cruel human, for fear that this cruel human would go crazy and get out of hand. That's right, this human brother is right. We did go a little too far before, but we will definitely mend our ways in the future. Thank you, human brother, for forgiving our stupid behavior. We will definitely not make any mistakes in the future. Many monsters nodded and spoke while covering their conscience. In the face of such a tyrannical power, they could only temporarily bow their heads to this human under pressure. Each of them lowered their eyes, as if they had already been tamed, and no longer had the hostility from before. It's good that you know how to repent. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. All of you still want to snatch the mermaid princess from my hands. This is simply absurd. What's the difference between your actions and those of tyrants, bandits, and bandits? He rebuked the wickedness. Many of the sea demons looked at this human with disdain. How dare he talk about them? This shameless human is the most evil bandit in the world. Who doesn't know that the Shark Demon King's treasure vault was emptied by you? The main culprit that caused the Shark Demon King to become penniless is you, shameless human. Moreover, he even kidnapped the mermaid princess. If this wasn't a bandit, then what was? How could he be so shameless to blame them when he had done such an evil thing? Xiaoping's face was thicker than the city wall. He didn't care about the eyes of the sea beasts and continued. I'll be honest with you. In the entire endless sea, everyone knows that the mermaid princess and I love each other. Soon we will be married. After a while, I will be the son-in-law of the mermaid king. I will dominate the endless sea. You still dare to offend me, the son-in-law of the Mermaid King. If this isn't stupid, then what is? In the future, with one command, I will mobilize the billions of soldiers of the Mermaid Kingdom and wipe you out in an instant. Not even a speck of you will be left. Tie the knot. Hearing this, many of the sea demons were stunned. They didn't expect this human to have such a terrifying idea. Not only did he want to kidnap the mermaid princess, but he also wanted to take this opportunity to become the son-in-law of the Mermaid King. What an evil idea, what a shameless act. So that was it. They finally understood why this human dared to do such a heinous thing. It turned out that he was ambitious and wanted to steal the mermaid princess. What was done could not be undone. He wanted to force the Mermaid King to acknowledge his position. Then this human would take this opportunity to enter the center of power of the Mermaid Kingdom. He would take control of the Mermaid Kingdom and occupy a place in the endless sea. What an evil plan. If this human really succeeded, then it would be hard to say who the endless sea would listen to in the future. This was not a matter that concerned the lives of humans on a dozen islands, but a matter that concerned countless races in the endless sea. Once this news got out, it would definitely be earth-shattering. For a time, their imaginations ran wild, and they were completely stunned. Lien Haiping was also dumbfounded, not knowing what to say. All right, I won't waste any more words with you. Xiaoping waved his hand. Anyway, this matter ends here. Go back to your homes. If you dare to step on land and do evil again, I will kill you myself. He was full of murderous intent. After saying that, he turned around and left. With a whoosh, he jumped into the air and was sucked into the moon god ship in the sky. In the next second, the ship jumped through space and soon disappeared from Orchid Island. At this moment, in a remote and dark place below the island, 2 or 3 sea demon kings appeared. Their eyes were cold as they stared at the place where Xiaoping's ship disappeared. What do we do? Are we not going to do anything? A sea demon king stared at Xiaoping's back with a gloomy expression. They were the bodyguards responsible for protecting these sea demon princes. Their goal was to prevent any accidents from happening to them. We can't do anything. This kid dared to come alone, so he must have something up his sleeves. Also, that ship can kill kings. Didn't you sense it? The weapon system on it has been locked onto us. If we dare to act rashly, we will definitely be attacked. Another demon king said in a low voice. He could feel that the ship was a fatal threat to him. It was because of the existence of that ship that they didn't dare to act rashly. The most annoying thing is that this human is wearing a universal protective suit. Even a high-level king can't kill him. He's like an unkillable hedgehog. That's right. Shadow Goblin King tried to assassinate him once on the battlefield. He used his full strength, but this guy is still alive and kicking. This universal protective suit is too much. It doesn't make sense at all. Even if we can't kill him, there is still the ship eyeing us. If we act rashly, our demon kings might be fine, but the princes here will all die. This kid knows the severity of the situation. Although he killed some elite guards, he didn't kill the princes with high status. He only suffered heavy injuries and didn't completely fall out with us. Our mission is still to protect the princes. We can't fight this human head-on. I hope this will teach the princes a lesson. In the future, they won't casually come to land. This is an extremely dangerous world. Chapter 932. Seeing Xiaoping leave, many sea demons heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, this human didn't start a massacre. Otherwise, they would probably all die in his hands. Despicable human. At this moment, Sea Dragon Prince Haipeng roared. I won't let him off. I definitely won't let him off. It was furious to the extreme. It had never suffered such a great humiliation in its entire life. It was beaten into such a state and humiliated in public. Its face was simply swollen from the slap. If this matter was spread back to the sea dragon race, he would immediately become a laughingstock. In the future, he would probably be pointed at by others. Prince, lower your voice. If that human didn't go far and came back to hear you, it would be terrible. A sea demon reminded him softly. He looked around carefully, afraid that the evil human would come back. If that happened, they wouldn't be as lucky as before. Lower your head. Sea Dragon Prince Haipeng was furious. Are you fucking scared out of your wits by that human? That guy just ran away. How could he come back? You're just a coward. He didn't expect that the brave elite Sea Dragon race soldiers in the Boundless Sea would actually tell him to lower his voice, because they were afraid of a human. The Sea Dragon race was born with such loud voices. How could he lower his voice? This was clearly making things difficult for him. I'm not afraid of what if. That sea demon felt that it was better to lower their voice. Perhaps it would be safer if the human walked far away and couldn't hear them. Scram! Haipeng slapped him angrily, sending him flying several meters away. He shouted angrily, "You are afraid of this human, but I, Haipeng, am not. I will fight to the death with him. First, I will destroy this human on Orchid Island. I will kill them all. I want to see if this human dares to kill me and slaughter my Sea Dragon race's city." He was so angry that he wanted to fight to the death with Xia Ping. As the prince of the Sea Dragon race, his identity was very precious. Even compared to the mermaid princess, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Now, he was actually humiliated by a small human and almost died. He couldn't swallow this anger. He wanted to kill someone to vent his anger. That's not a good idea. That human is a lunatic. The octopus Prince Zhang Ming was a little hesitant. He was a little scared by Xia Ping, and a shadow had formed in his heart. Crazy your sister. Haipeng flew into a rage. So what if he's a madman? I don't believe that the Sea Dragon clan can't do anything to him. Even if a grandmaster can't kill him, or even a normal king tier can't kill him, my father emperor will definitely be able to kill him. No one can offend me, Haipeng, and still be alive in the endless sea. Many of the sea demons nodded in agreement. The Sea Dragon King was an invincible king. He was equally as famous as the Mermaid King. He was also a ferocious king of the ocean. If the Sea Dragon King were to make a move, that kind of scene would be quite terrifying. That human would definitely die. Report. Suddenly, a dozen pale-faced guards rushed in from the outside. Like a gust of wind, they quickly ran into the hall and arrived in front of the Siren Princes. "Oh no, First Prince!" A Sea Dragon clan soldier immediately shouted. "Just half an hour ago, someone detonated a nuclear bomb 3 kilometers away from the 3 cities of our Sea Dragon clan in the underwater world: Dragonhorn City, Dragonmite City, and Dragon Scale City. The explosion destroyed the area within a radius of several kilometers, causing seawater to flow backward and setting off a shocking storm. The 3 underwater cities suffered great losses." What? Hearing this, Haipeng was stunned, and his face turned pale. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. The 3 underwater cities, Dragonhorn City, Dragonmite City, and Dragon Scale City, were all extremely important residential cities of the Sea Dragon clan. If anything happened to these 3 cities, the entire Sea Dragon clan would be in great turmoil. In particular, many members of the Sea Dragon clan's royal family also lived in these 3 cities. If these nuclear bombs did not explode outside the cities, but inside the cities, the consequences would be unimaginable. Prince, several cities belonging to the Octopus tribe, such as Octagon City, Red Octagon City, and Black Rock City, have also experienced nuclear explosions. The tremors within a radius of dozens of miles caused an underwater earthquake with a magnitude of 7 or 8. Although there weren't many casualties, it caused huge damage to buildings, and many houses collapsed. The territory of the Electric Eel clan was also destroyed. The same goes for the territory of the Swordfish clan. My God, bad news came from the territory of the Shell clan. One by one, the Sea Demon soldiers reported the news, saying that many important cities of the Sea Demon clan had been ambushed with nuclear bombs and deliberately chose this time to detonate them at the same time, shocking the entire endless sea. "Xia Ping, it's definitely that bitch Xia Ping who did it," a Sea Demon Grandmaster screamed. "This is a warning to us. Right now, the nuclear bombs are only placed outside the cities. Next time, the nuclear bombs might be placed in the cities of our clan. If we dare to kill a human, that bitch will dare to detonate a nuclear bomb. I told you that this human is a lunatic, absolutely a lunatic, but you don't believe me." His face was pale with fright, and his entire body was trembling. It can't be. This human dares to do this? Does he want to start a war with the many races of the endless sea? For a few insignificant humans on a few islands, he wants to destroy the important cities of our clan. What does he want? Once he does such a thing, he definitely won't be able to get away with it. We can't be careless. Others might not dare to do it, but this lunatic Xia Ping will definitely do it. Many sea demons were trembling. If it was someone else who said such words and did such a thing, they would think that the other party did not have the guts to do it, and was just bluffing and scaring them. But the person who said such words and did such a thing was the human Xia Ping. This brat did all kinds of evil. He dared to empty the treasury of the Shark Demon King's palace, dared to beat up many descendants of the Demon Kings, and even dared to kidnap the Mermaid Princess. There was nothing that this brat did not dare to do. Those who dared to look down on this human's guts had basically all gone to hell to repent. First Prince. Many sea demons looked at Hai Peng, wanting to know what he was thinking. If he really gave the order to kill the humans on Orchid Island and the other islands, there was no doubt that he would start an all-out war with the humans. Every sea demon city would suffer from this human's crazy revenge. Once they thought of countless nuclear bombs buried in their cities and detonated at the same time, shaking the heavens and earth and killing countless of their kind, they trembled in fear and their faces turned ashen. They were not afraid of death, but were their friends and family not afraid of death? Let them go. With a slap, the Sea Dragon clan's first prince Hai Peng was so scared that he collapsed on the ground. His entire body was trembling, and he did not dare to persist any longer. Xia Ping's threat was blatant, and he did not hide his intentions at all. If he dared to do such a thing, he must have the guts to perish together with his enemies. Obviously, Hai Peng did not have the guts, nor could he make such a crazy decision. Chapter 933. On the second day, the sea dragons, octopuses, seashells, electric eels and other sea demon races immediately retreated from the dozen or so human islands. They didn't kill a single person, and didn't even take away a single treasure. They just returned along the way. In an instant, many of the captured humans seemed to have woken up from a dream. If it weren't for the fact that they were still tied up, they would have thought that they were dreaming. Otherwise, how could such an absurd thing happen? What exactly is going on? Why did these ferocious and evil sea demons suddenly retreat without any news at all? Someone was puzzled. In fact, this was also the question on everyone's mind. I know. It must be our ancestor. Our ancestor definitely took action. Otherwise, these sea demons wouldn't have retreated so obediently. They didn't even dare to let out a fart. That's right. If the king didn't show up personally to intimidate these sea demons, and let them know the power of our human king, they wouldn't have left so obediently, and didn't even dare to take a hair. Our ancestor is really powerful. As expected of a king, even these ferocious and lawless sea demons were scared witless. Many humans were satisfied and felt honored. With the protection of a king, they felt very safe. But if those sea demons were really afraid of our ancestor, why would they come to us? There shouldn't be any other reason, right? Someone raised his doubt. Everyone was stunned and felt that it made sense. If their ancestor was really that powerful, these sea demons wouldn't have dared to invade their islands so brazenly. Could this matter be related to Xia Ping? Some people immediately thought of Xia Ping. However, someone immediately retorted, impossible. Even if this guy has 3 heads and 6 arms, he can't scare these sea demons. Could he be more terrifying than a king? Many people nodded in agreement. First of all, whether this guy had the ability or not, first of all, he was a bastard who didn't want to save them. Why would he save them? When we go back, we must definitely accuse Xia Ping, this bastard, of not saving us. He would rather sacrifice our lives than hand over the mermaid princess. He even shamelessly asked us to sacrifice our lives and become martyrs. What a despicable act. I will not live under the same sky as that bastard. A disciple of the Wang clan gnashed his teeth. He finally remembered Xia Ping. Because of this bastard, they were almost killed by those sea demons. Even in death, they would never forget this matter. Fortunately, the group of sea demons were perceptive, and did not fall for Xia Ping's evil tricks. Otherwise, how could they continue to live in this world? They would have long become food in the stomachs of the sea demons. The patriarch is here. Suddenly someone shouted. 2 or 3 spaceships appeared in the sky. They quickly flew over and landed on the ground. Following that, more than 10 kings walked out of the flying ship. They were all kings of the major clans, and were all old-timers. Patriarch. The group of people immediately went up and shed tears of gratitude. They were just about to say some words of gratitude to the old ancestor. But soon someone exclaimed, "Fuck, why is this bitch Xia Ping here too?" His eyes widened, and he immediately discovered that Xia Ping was chatting cheerfully with the other monarchs, as if they were on very good terms. He was so scared that his eyeballs almost popped out. "Fuck, this bitch Xia Ping still dares to come? I'm going to kill him right now." A burly man with a very bad temper remembered his old and new grudges, and he wanted to rush up and teach Xia Ping a lesson. But before they could rush up, the Pan family's patriarch Panda shouted angrily, "What the hell are you doing? You have no respect for your elders. You see Brother Xia and not greet him. What a scandal. If Brother Xia hadn't personally acted this time, you would all be dead. You can say that he is your savior. You should all come forward and thank him." His expression was very serious. "What?" Everyone was aggrieved, as if a toad had been stuffed into their mouths. Their faces were red, and they could barely speak. It was clearly this bastard who had almost killed them. It was because of this bastard that they had provoked so many sea demons. They were just small fish and shrimp in the pond. No matter how they looked at it, this Xia Ping was the main culprit, and should be criticized. But now, he had actually become their savior, and they still had to thank him. If this was a joke, then this joke had gone too far. "Hey, you're too polite. Brother Pan, there's no need to be so polite. We're all brothers of the human race, so there's no need to be so polite. Saving them was just a small effort, so there's no need to thank him, or give him any precious gifts. You're too polite." Xia Ping waved his hand modestly. "Gift my ass." The group of people gritted their teeth. Their old ancestor did not mention anything about giving gifts at all. But this guy was extremely thick-skinned, and shamelessly brought up the matter of giving gifts. It was clear that he was afraid that others would not give gifts, so he deliberately pointed out this matter. Moreover, what did this bastard call their patriarch? Brother Pan? Panda, your uncle, is that something you can call him? It should be known that Panda was the patriarch of the Pan family, and his seniority was extremely high. Basically, everyone present was his grandson or granddaughter. But now this kid was calling their patriarch a brother, and their status was equal. In this way, weren't they all the grandsons of this shameless Xia Ping? The seniority was all messed up. How could someone take advantage of others like this? They all glared at Xia Ping fiercely. No, this isn't polite at all." Panda waved his hand repeatedly. "If it weren't for Brother Xia, these little bastards would have died long ago. How could they still be so lively and full of energy? Thanks are only part of the reason. Gifts are also necessary. My Pan family will definitely prepare a big gift for Brother Xia later." His tone was very sincere. Patriarch. The descendants of the Pan family all felt very aggrieved. It was clearly this bastard's fault. He could count himself lucky not to ask for compensation. But now he had to give him a gift. How could such a thing happen in this world? "That's right, Brother Xia. Money is just a worldly possession. As long as it can save so many of our descendants, money doesn't matter." This time, it was all thanks to Brother Xia. If it weren't for Brother Xia solving this problem perfectly, we wouldn't know what to do. The dozen or so kings all said to Xia Ping. Even the patriarch of the Wang family, Wang Kong, who had the greatest opinion of Xia Ping, had nothing to say. This was because Xia Ping's performance in this matter was too shocking. He easily disintegrated the allied army of sea demons, and prevented the outbreak of war. At the same time, he made these sea demons retreat willingly. This performance was almost perfect. Coupled with his talent, advancing to the king realm was an ironclad matter. If there was no need, who would be willing to become enemies with such a monstrous genius? It was better to take advantage of this opportunity to quickly befriend this genius. There would be many benefits in the future. Chapter 934. The news of the retreat of the sea demon clans and the safe release of the humans on the islands had spread throughout the Cloud Realm. Almost everyone knew about it. No way. Those savage sea demons retreated just like that? They didn't ask for anything? From all the information, it seems so. They didn't ask for anything. Are you kidding me? Isn't this nonsense? Right. Didn't they ask Xia Ping to release the mermaid princess? Their words were very savage, and seemed like they wouldn't stop until one side was dead. Why don't they ask for her release now? I heard that Xia Ping personally forced the sea demons to retreat, and forced them to sign a humiliating agreement. In the end, they gave up on rescuing the mermaid princess. Just what method did Xia Ping use? Force the sea demons to retreat? Who doesn't know how savage these sea demons are? They aren't even afraid of kings. Are they afraid of a young man like Xia Ping? No matter how I think about it, it doesn't make sense. There are too many inside stories. Many humans were in an uproar when they heard the news. Previously, the captives had been captured by the sea demons. This matter had been blown out of proportion. Many people thought that the captives would most likely die in the hands of the sea demons. But now they had left unscathed. This was a bit anticlimactic. Even if they weren't involved, they could sense something fishy was going on. Maybe there was some kind of deal. At this time, the captives from Orchid Island had also returned to their homes. They thought they could live in peace. Who knew that trouble had just begun? News reporters from all over the world, as well as people who were extremely curious about this matter, actually boarded spaceships and headed to the islands to find out what was going on. Immediately, many of the island's residents were blocked and surrounded by the reporters. Friend, may I ask how you felt when you were captured by the sea demons? A reporter immediately caught a member of the Wang family and asked, "What feeling?" Was there a need to ask? It was worse than death. All kinds of memories from before their deaths flashed before their eyes. Some people were so scared that they peed themselves or fainted on the ground. There were all kinds of situations. Many members of the Wang family were speechless and didn't know how to answer. This kind of feeling was too humiliating. They were too ashamed to speak. It was a bit embarrassing for the King families. By the way, I heard that when you were captured, you were so scared that you wet your pants and begged the sirens for mercy. Is that true? A gossip reporter asked sinisterly. That's not true. Where did you hear that from? The group of Wang family descendants flatly denied it. They wanted nothing more than to bite this gossipy reporter to death. If he really admitted it, wouldn't he be embarrassing himself in front of the entire nation? We got the information from an insider. As for who it is, it's not convenient for us to tell you. The gossip reporter's eyes flickered, as if he didn't want to reveal the identity of this insider. Bullshit internal personnel. Was it Xia Ping, that bitch, who said it? The faces of the Wang family juniors all turned green. Xia Ping's face instinctively appeared in their minds. And they all unanimously felt that it was this bastard who told the news to these reporters. Otherwise, how could he say it so clearly and in such detail? Moreover, he specifically pointed out the ugly side of them, causing them a serious blow both physically and mentally. However, thinking about it carefully, their ancestor was currently in the honeymoon period with this bastard Xia Ping. No matter how shameless that bastard was, he probably wouldn't expose them at this time. Although they didn't know if this so-called insider was fabricated by this gossip reporter, it didn't stop them from denying it. They directly said, "Although I don't know where you got this useless information from, we were ultimately heroes facing those evil and cruel sirens until the very last moment. You can know from the result. Those sirens fled with their tails between their legs, and we were released safely. As for the process, you can imagine it yourself. They constantly maintained their righteous side, and would never admit that they had begged the sirens for mercy. My friend, how did you manage to escape and come back? That's right. So many ferocious sirens came to kidnap you. But now they retreated with their tails between their legs. They didn't do anything. What's the inside story? Did you make some kind of secret deal with the sea demons? That's why the sea demons retreated? Did you sign some kind of treaty that betrayed your country for glory? Many reporters bombarded them with questions like a machine gun, overwhelming them. No comment. No comment on this matter. The group of Wang family descendants kept their mouths shut. They couldn't say a single word about the inside story. Otherwise, they would lose all the face of their king families. At this moment in the villa on the giant island, mermaid princess Wuxia was also watching the television in the living room. The television was showing the scene of the reporter interviewing the people on the island. She had also heard the news of the sirens retreating. The originally majestic army of sirens was now all bark and no bite. They retreated one by one, and no one cared about her, who was in the center of the storm. Damn it! What did this human do? Why did they all run away? Wuxia gritted her teeth, feeling extremely indignant. If even this couldn't save her, did her father have to personally make a move? If even her father couldn't save her, then she would have to work like a slave for this human for the rest of her life. She suddenly felt that her future was dark. The most unlucky thing in her life was probably meeting this despicable, shameless human in the Shark Demon King's palace. Suji and Jiang Yaru also saw this news. They were speechless and in awe. Originally, they thought that Xiaoping would definitely be in trouble this time. They didn't expect that this matter would end so angrily. Although they didn't know what happened, they could imagine that Xiaoping must have played a big role in it. Otherwise, how could these ferocious sirens retreat just like that? At this time, Xiaoping didn't care about anything else. He came to the huge warehouse of the villa. The materials he bought from the giant company for the spaceship were all moved here. They almost filled up the warehouse. From afar, it looked like a small mountain. And this was only a part of it. There were still many more materials that would be moved here. Chapter 935. Don't worry, it's enough. Corinne's virtual projection jumped out and landed on Xiaoping's shoulder. This is just the initial modification material for the spaceship. It's already enough to meet the requirements. By the way, I also modified the internal AI program of the batch of nano-engineered robots I asked you to buy. The efficiency has been increased by about 10,000 times, and they can have simple human intelligence. I've inputted the engineering drawings of the spaceship into their chips. Then these nano-engineered robots will automatically modify the spaceship, transport materials, and do assembly line work. Even if I'm not here, they will work diligently like worker ants. 3 months. It should be done in about 3 months. It held up 3 fingers. At this moment, the moon god was lying quietly in the warehouse. Countless nanoscale engineering robots were crawling around it. They were like ants, densely packed together. Some were disassembling and transporting materials. Some were welding and adjusting the electric circuit. Some were decorating the spaceship's interior. Although it looked very messy, in fact they were very organized, completely following the design drawings. This was already precise to the nano level. This was simply a futuristic project. It was extremely sci-fi. Amazing! Xiaoping was full of admiration. As expected of a brain that had surpassed the cloud realm by many years. Just the technology used to modify these nano-engineered robots was already far beyond the reach of humans. Instilling some engineering knowledge into these nano-engineered robots was equivalent to creating a human engineer in an instant. And these nanorobots numbered in the tens of thousands, which was equivalent to having tens of thousands of elite human engineers. This saved a lot of manpower and material resources. Next, they didn't need to do anything. It was enough for these nano-engineered robots to work. Moreover, these robots could work 24 hours a day as long as they had energy. They didn't need to rest at all. Their efficiency had increased by who knew how many times. If such intelligent nano-engineered robots were taken out, it would probably revolutionize the entire human society. Science and technology would undergo earth-shaking changes. Of course. Don't you know who I am? This is as easy as flipping my hand. Corinne was very proud with his hands on his hips. Finally, there was something he could do in front of this demon. Previously, he was so shocked by this demon that he even doubted his cat life. With this spaceship, although we can't travel through a galaxy, we can travel through the nearby planets. We can go to the planets near the cloud realm to take a look. This will greatly broaden our horizons. Xiaoping clenched his fists. Going to other planets and exploring unknown environments was simply one of the ultimate dreams of mankind. Moreover, the universe was extremely vast and boundless. There were many peculiar planets, and every single one of them had innumerable treasures. They were like unexplored treasures waiting for Xiaoping to explore. If he was able to obtain even more treasures, then his chances of breaking through into the king realm would be even greater. Didi. At this time, the system's voice also came out. Congratulations to the host. You have angered a large number of Siren Grandmasters. This time, you have gained a total of 50 million hatred points. I hope the host will continue to work hard. 50 million hate points? Xiaoping curled his lips. He didn't think it was too little. After all, he had only offended some grandmasters this time. There was a limit to the amount of hatred he could get. It was still a little far from the king realm. But even so, coupled with the previous hatred value, he had a total of 630 million hatred value. After a period of time, he estimated that he would have 1 billion hatred value. At that time, he would be able to get another big gift bag from the system. But he didn't know what the next big gift bag would be. This made Xiaoping very much look forward to it. Whoosh! As soon as the system's voice ended, the communicator on his body immediately rang. With a snap, Xiaoping turned on his communicator, and a virtual projection appeared in front of him. Immediately, the figure that appeared in front of him was the King Zhaozhong, the big shot of the giant company. Xiaoping. The King Zhaozhong looked at Xiaoping with a kind face, like an old man looking at his grandson, very kind. Elder Zhao. Xiaoping spoke very respectfully. He knew that this old man was very good to him, and was a senior worthy of respect. He was such a person. If people respected him, he would respect them tenfold. This time, I have a big matter to look for you. Zhaozhong smiled slightly. A big matter? Xiaoping was stunned. He didn't ask and just looked at Zhaozhong. Zhaozhong didn't seem to have any intention of letting Xiaoping answer. Nor did he intend to keep him in suspense. He said directly, I'll just say it directly. The leader of the giant company has come to see you. What? Hearing this, Xiaoping was shocked and looked at Zhaozhong in shock. Although Zhaozhong's tone was very calm, this sentence was earth-shattering. The leader of the giant company, Wuxia, had come. What kind of existence was that? The other party was an old monster, who had survived from the great era of mankind until today. He had long been promoted to the realm of the invincible king. He was a legend who had lived for more than 1,000 years, and had experienced several wars of life and death for mankind. If it weren't for the existence of this old man, it was unknown how many human beings would have died. In the textbooks of Yanhuang Star, in many historical books, and even on TV, the figure of this invincible king had appeared. This was a big shot whose influence affected all aspects of human society. It could be said that if such a person sneezed, the entire cloud realm would catch a cold for 3 days. Not to mention that the other party was the leader of the giant company, a super big shot who controlled one of the 3 superpowers of the human world. Generally speaking, ordinary people were not qualified to see him at all. Even grandmasters were not qualified. Only the king could barely meet him, and even if they wanted to meet, it would depend on the other party's mood. What the hell is going on? Since he was about to meet such a big shot, even if Xiaoping didn't care, he had to ask what was going on. After all, such a big shot would not meet him for no reason. Anyone would feel a little excited to meet a legend from the textbooks. This is actually a gathering. The 3 giants of the 3 major human organizations will meet, Zhaozhong said in a deep voice. At that time, the leader of the Aurora Corporation, Sun Yongdao, and the leader of the Life Corporation, Lu Wuming, will also attend. Many elite human grandmasters will also appear. His eyes flickered, indicating that this matter was extremely important. 3 giants. Xiaoping was speechless. These 3 super organizations covered all aspects of human society, controlling all aspects of human politics, economy, and military. And the meeting of these 3 super organizations was no less than the meeting of the leaders of the 3 super countries on Earth in his previous life. This could affect the lifeline of the entire planet. Remember, at such a gathering, don't cause trouble. You must keep a low profile, Xiao Zhong warned. Xia Ping patted his chest. Don't worry. Don't you know who I am? I am the most low-key person. Chapter 936. Endless Sea, Flaming Huang Island. This was the largest island in human territory, more than 10 times the size of Giant Island. It was also the capital of the human race in the Cloud Realm, a true super city, with 100 million people living there. It could be said that this island was simply a war fortress. Even if countless demon kings attacked together for 10 days and 10 nights, they would not be able to break through. It was equivalent to the crystallization of human technology. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, the already busy airport of Flaming Huang Island welcomed spaceships from all over the Cloud Realm. The spaceships landed one after another. Countless soldiers were on standby, blocking all means of transportation. Even if a fly wanted to pass through it, it would be an impossible thing. Many passengers also noticed this situation. What's going on? The security at the airport seems to be especially tight today. I heard that a big shot is coming. The entire Flaming Huang Island is on high alert. It can't be. What kind of big shot is coming? I'm not sure. Maybe it's a gathering of the higher-ups. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a lineup. Many passengers saw the soldiers all around, all armed with real guns. The security was extremely strict. They checked every suspicious person passing by. If there was anything wrong, they would be caught and interrogated. Although the security was usually strict, it was definitely not as crazy as today. Look, the people on the spaceships are coming down. Some people noticed that many spaceships had landed in the distance. It seemed that some soldiers were coming forward to welcome them. Many people also walked out of the spaceships. Oh my God, all of them are masters. What's going on? Someone cried out in surprise. Even in the Cloud Realm, a Grandmaster was considered an incredible figure. They could be regarded as generals and the strongest people below the King Realm. It was not an undeserved reputation. Basically, this was the peak that ordinary people could reach. Not only masters, but even the king-level masters have appeared. And so many of them. I've seen them on TV before. Some people also recognized the identity of some of the kings. Only a small number of human kings, due to various reasons, would not be known. Most of the human kings were basically known. After all, they were the heroes of the human race. Therefore, many people quickly recognized the identity of some of the human kings. Amazing! Masters have gathered, kings have appeared. Something big is going to happen. I haven't encountered such a situation in a long time. At least not in the past 10 years. Why are so many kings gathered? It must be a top-secret matter. How can we ordinary people know about it? Everyone discussed and looked at these grandmasters and kings with curiosity. However, there were soldiers guarding the area, so no one dared to go forward. All of them watched curiously from afar. Look, isn't that the champion of the genius battle, Xia Ping? Some people also saw Xia Ping in the team. Oh my God, it really is that troublemaker. I didn't expect to see him alive today. Hurry up and take a picture. I knew I was lucky today. He is going to be one of the major characters in the future. He has already reached the Grandmaster realm at such a young age. In the future, he might even become an invincible king. He has already been listed as one of the important people that the giant company is nurturing. The group of people also quickly noticed Xia Ping's existence, because Xia Ping was really too famous and high profile. Basically, all the major events that happened in the past year were related to this guy. On the internet, Xia Ping's name was a hot topic, and he was even more famous than many human kings. Although he hadn't reached the level where everyone knew him, he had become a superstar. People would point at him whenever he went out. If it weren't for Xia Ping's notoriety, people might have asked for his autograph and many female fans. What? Hearing this, not only many tourists were in a commotion, but even some grandmasters and kings in the team couldn't help but turn their heads to look. Because this year, Xia Ping had been in the limelight too much and had done a lot of big things. Not to mention the fact that he had auctioned the Demon King's descendant, just the fact that he had kidnapped the mermaid princess and angered the sea monsters. The Allied forces had come to kill him, but in the end, he was still safe and sound. This was enough to make countless grandmasters and kings look at him and attract a lot of attention. Just causing trouble was not a big deal. Everyone could do it. The problem was that after causing trouble, nothing happened to him, and he even got great benefits. This was not something that everyone could do. TSK, is this the champion of the genius battle, Xiaoping? He's really powerful. His heavenly court is full, and his gang qi is full. He must have reached the sixth sky of the supreme power realm. My God, this kid is only 19 years old. He's so abnormal. When we were his age, we were probably in the martial mentor realm, but he is already a grandmaster and can compete with the older generation. He's really a monster. I can't compare with him. But is he also coming to this meeting? Isn't it a little too early? Indeed, even if he is now in the sixth sky of the supreme power realm, he is only 19 years old. He's too young. I guess some kings want to train him, so they let him come out to see the world. He might not want to do anything. The eyes of many masters and kings twinkled as they looked at Xiaoping with complicated expressions. Some people sighed with emotion. Compared with this kid, they had been living like dogs all these years. The gap was too big. People really couldn't be compared with each other. It was really annoying. However, in the distance, there was also a group of people standing next to them, looking at Xiaoping, and the others with a faint smile. A man in black crossed his arms and said lightly, "Wu Quan, this kid is really popular. He has been in the limelight this year, and is even called the future invincible king. What do you think?" The aura on his body was very powerful. It seemed that there was a faint dark aura around him, as if it had formed a unique aura. Once someone approached him, they would immediately feel very uncomfortable and disgusted. This man's cultivation had reached the peak of the ninth sky of the supreme power realm, only one step away from the king realm. Humph, he's just playing to the gallery. How can it be so easy to become an invincible king? The young man named Wu Quan sneered and said, "Not to mention the invincible king. Even the king realm has stopped countless geniuses. Now this kid is amazing. But who knows if he will be stuck at the peak of the supreme power realm for many years. In the past, we were also promoted to the ninth sky of the supreme power realm. We thought that we could break through soon, but in the blink of an eye, 5 or 6 years have passed, and we still haven't been able to break through. I remember a few years ago, we were also called monsters. Lu Shan, you think too highly of him." Chapter 937. Indeed. Lu Shan also nodded. The king realm is as difficult as ascending to heaven. If it wasn't difficult, countless geniuses wouldn't have been trapped for so many years, and there are so few king realm masters in the entire cloud realm. If we were to say who are the true geniuses among our peers, the undoubted monstrous geniuses, it would probably be Su Mei and Qiuxue. They have easily broken through the king realm, and have already surpassed us. I thought I could surpass them this time, but I didn't expect to fail. He laughed at himself. Wu Quan had nothing to say. These two women were indeed amazing geniuses of their generation. They seemed to have no bottlenecks, and easily broke through to the king realm. They had been stuck at the peak of the grandmaster realm for so many years, so they all knew how difficult it was to break through to the king realm. The more difficult it was, the more amazing these two stunning women were. But I have to say that this kid is amazing. The black-clothed man, Lu Shan, smiled slightly. Let's not talk about his martial arts cultivation. Just his luck alone is not something we can compare with. Our generation's two goddesses, Su Mei and Qiuxue, were both taken by this kid, and they are even willing to share a husband. I really envy others. Shut up. Hearing this, a man in gray next to Lu Shan stared at him and said coldly, "These are just rumors circulating on the internet. There is no evidence. Who can be sure that this is true? How can you believe such a baseless rumor? LV Shan, you're getting worse and worse." His eyes were bloodshot, and he seemed to be very angry. "Rinhaodon, I know you like Qiuxue, but you can't ignore the facts." Lu Shan didn't care at all, and still had a smile on his face. As the saying goes, there is no smoke without fire. How do you know that this is not true? If it is false, why didn't Qiushue come out to refute it and let these rumors spread? I think that even if it is somewhat false, it is also somewhat true. Sometimes, when it comes to rumors, they'll become true as time goes on. He didn't care about the anger of the man in gray, Ren Haodong, and said these words to himself. Lu Shan, if you want to provoke me, I can tell you that you have succeeded. Do you want to fight with me? I, Ren Haodong, will accompany you to the end. Ren Haodong clenched her fists. Lu Shan waved his hand. Don't cause trouble in front of the king, or we'll have to bear the consequences. Since you don't want to hear it, then I won't say it. Why get angry? But then again, there are a lot of people in our generation who like the two goddesses, Qiushue and Su Mei. This kid actually picked the two flowers of the plateau and brought them home. I don't know how much hatred he will cause. He rubbed his chin with a cold expression on his face. Humph. Ren Haodong snorted coldly. He didn't say anything, but his face darkened. His gaze fell on Xiaoping, who was walking over from afar. No one knew what he was thinking. Wu Quan was silent as he looked at Xiaoping in the distance. For a moment, the group fell into silence. At this moment, Xiaoping followed the kings of the giant company and exited the flying shuttle. When he arrived at the airport, he instantly heard the commotion in the surroundings and countless gazes were directed at him. It seemed that even on Flaming Huang Island, he was very famous. Many people knew who he was. Elder Zhao, Xiaoping said proudly. I didn't think that I would be recognized even though I'm so low-key. It seems that I'm actually a man who can't keep a low profile. No matter where I go, I'm like a firefly in the dark. I'm so bright and eye-catching. I'm like a red dot in a green forest. He felt that being a celebrity was very tiring. There were people everywhere discussing, taking photos, shaking hands, and signing autographs. There might even be a bunch of beautiful female fans waiting for him to work day and night and do all kinds of unspoken rules. Tonight's nightlife might be very rich. Zhao Zhong was speechless. He felt that Xiaoping's skin was so thick that even an old man like him, who was hundreds of years old, couldn't take it. The other kings and grandmasters of the giant company all looked at Xiaoping with disdain. If this guy did less immoral things, it was guaranteed that he wouldn't be recognized. Moreover, there were no female fans around at all. This bastard still wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to do unspoken rules and fuck fun for free. He was simply daydreaming. Alright, stop talking nonsense. Let's hurry up and go to the Flaming Huang base. The leader is waiting for us. Zhao Zhong didn't want to hear this guy brag and directly ordered them to leave. Whoosh! The group of people left the airport. There were already a few hover cars waiting for them, picking up the grandmasters and kings. An hour later, Xiaoping's group arrived at the largest base of Flaming Huang Island, the Flaming Huang base. It wasn't just Xiaoping's group. This time, many kings and grandmasters who had arrived at Flaming Huang Island were also heading to the Flaming Huang base. The group of people headed there in a grandiose manner. You guys are here. Just as Xiaoping and the others arrived at an empty space in the Flaming Huang base, they immediately heard a gentle voice. However, this voice contained a terrifying spiritual wave. It was transmitted directly to everyone's mind. Even if they covered their ears, they couldn't block it out. Everyone looked over and saw three figures standing in the middle of the empty space in the base. One was a middle-aged man who was 8 meters tall, wearing black trousers and a black jacket. His entire body was pitch black. At first glance, it wasn't a person but a black shadow. He stood on the ground, and the entire sky seemed to distort. The sun and the sky and endless sunlight were immediately blocked, as if the entire world had turned into darkness. This middle-aged man was the center of this world of darkness, devouring the endless light. The second figure was a handsome man. He looked incomparably elegant, as if he was a mythical character from the fairy race. He stood on the ground and seemed to emit white light automatically. He was like a sun standing on the ground, filling the surroundings with dazzling light. The people around him couldn't open their eyes, and they couldn't see his appearance clearly. If this middle-aged man was the god of darkness, then this handsome man was the god of light. The third figure was an old man wearing green clothes. His feet stood on the ground like the roots of an old tree, deeply rooted in the ground, absorbing the endless life force of the earth. He didn't seem like a human, but a tree of life standing on the ground. He had a majestic life force, and he emitted an ancient vast aura that was incomparably vicissitude. Facing these three figures, no one present could muster up the will to resist. It seemed that as long as they willed it, they could instantly end their lives. Ordinary kings were no exception. Everyone had the same thought. These were invincible kings. Chapter 938. Invincible King. Divine Realm. At this moment, Xiaoping truly felt how terrifying this level was. When dealing with a Guru Realm cultivator, he could probably kill him with a single thought. There were 3 levels to King Realm: Purple Mansion, Fulfillment, and Divine Realm. The difference between each level was like heaven and earth, especially the Divine Realm, which was extremely different from the Fulfillment Realm. Even in the boundless universe, the Divine Realm was considered an expert with combat strength. In a remote and desolate place like the Cloud Realm, he would be an invincible existence, and no one would be able to contend against him. Not bad at all. The middle-aged man in black nodded. The talents of this generation are quite good. There are still some good seedlings. I hope everyone will work hard. You should know that the King Realm is only the beginning, not the end. He glanced at everyone around. Everyone present felt a mountain-like pressure crushing down on them. They almost couldn't breathe. This was the pressure of an invincible king. Ordinary people couldn't resist it at all. All right, old man. The handsome man smiled like a spring breeze. Don't bully the juniors here. That's enough. Oh, we forgot to introduce ourselves. I'm Sun Yongdao. This old man in black is old 70, and this old man in green is Lu Wuming. He pointed at the 2 people next to him. What? Everyone was shocked. Lu Wuming, Sun Yongdao. These 3 names were not just heard of. They were like thunder piercing their ears, the kind that everyone knew of. They were the leaders of Life Corporation, Giant Corporation, and Aurora Corporation, the 3 super organizations that ruled this world. They were the true leaders. Normally, they would be cultivating in seclusion to increase their cultivation. They would not come out easily. Even some kings hadn't seen the 3 leaders in person. They didn't expect to see them here today. I think you all find it strange too. Why have you been summoned here at this time? Lu Wuming stood with his hands behind his back and looked at everyone. The reason is simple. It's because the Demon King path has opened. Many geniuses have entered this trial. Once they pass this trial, they will definitely become Demon Kings. This is no small matter. He said that the path of the Monster King was a training ground passed down from ancient times in the Thousand Monster Mountain. There were endless mysteries inside, and it contained the secret of becoming a Monster King. Once the training was successful, one would definitely become a Monster King. If these demons were to pass the trial and become Demon Kings, they would definitely pose a great threat to humanity. The eyes of many martial artists flickered. They were extremely shocked. They did not think that the Wanyao Mountain would have such a secret place. Some people that had been stuck at the peak of the Grandmaster Realm for a very long time were extremely tempted. If they were able to enter such a training ground, then they might be able to seize this opportunity to advance into the King Realm. Lu Wuming also saw the Grandmaster's desire and smiled. I believe some of you have also received the news. This time, we will also find a way to enter the Fiend Race's trial grounds and get a share of the spoils. This is the reason why I've gathered all of you here. Lu Wuming's words wouldn't have been much before, but Lu Wuming's words had truly shocked and excited many human grandmasters. Immediately, someone could not help but ask, "Leader, is this true or not?" Lu Wuming nodded. Of course it's true. We are not joking. He indicated that although the entrance to the path of the Fiend Race's secret trial grounds was in the Wanyao Mountain, the entrance to the secret trial grounds was not only in the Wanyao Mountain. After all, the Fiend Race was a race that dominated the entire Cloud Realm. Their ruins could be found in every corner of the Cloud Realm. At the same time, the entrances to the path of the Fiend Race were scattered all over the Cloud Realm. One of them was in the human territory, and had always been well protected by the army. It was classified as a top secret, and not many people knew about it. Before the path of the fiend race opened, this entrance was useless. However, now that the main entrance to the path of the fiend race had opened, they could also take this opportunity to enter through this remote entrance and get a share of the spoils of the fiend race. Although we can enter the path of the fiend race's secret trial grounds, let me tell you first that this secret trial grounds is extremely dangerous. It can be said that there is only a slim chance of survival, Lu Wuming said solemnly. There is no exit on this path. According to the fiend race's ancient records, if you are unable to advance to the Fiend King realm in this secret trial grounds, then you will die here and never be able to come out. In other words, if you don't become a Fiend King, you will die. He looked around and pointed out the seriousness of this matter. A slim chance of survival? This is indeed a dangerous secret trial grounds. If it wasn't for this kind of secret ground, you probably wouldn't be able to become a Fiend King. Don't worry, Chief. We have experienced all kinds of dangers. This is nothing. In order to advance to the Fiend King realm, we are already prepared to die. Many grandmasters clenched their fists. Some of them had been stuck at this bottleneck for decades or even centuries. This period of time was simply too long. It was almost the lifetime of an ordinary human. If this continued, they would not be able to advance to the Fiend King realm and would be stuck at this bottleneck for the rest of their lives. To them, who were determined to reach the peak of martial arts, this was simply torture. Now that they had a chance to escape this torture, they would not hesitate to sacrifice their lives. The path of the fiend race? Xiaoping was extremely tempted as well. Perhaps he would have to spend a very long time to advance into the king realm if he followed the prescribed order. However, he might be able to greatly shorten the time he had to cultivate and allow him to break through if he entered this secret realm. As for the dangers in the trial grounds, he did not care about them at all. No matter how dangerous it was, many monsters had succeeded and advanced to the Fiend King realm. This meant that it was not a slim chance of survival, and there was still a high chance of success. He had many trump cards to save his life. If even he could not succeed, Xiaoping could not imagine who else could pass this trial. He had to participate in this trial as well. Alright, since that's the case, you can set off tomorrow. Lu Wuming was very satisfied. Wait, Chief. Suddenly, someone stood out and said to Lu Wuming, do you have any questions? Lu Wuming looked at this person. Chief, my name is Ren Haodong. Ren Haodong introduced himself and then said, all the grandmasters are seniors, and all of them have reached the peak of the grandmaster realm. Of course, I have no objections to them participating in this trial. But there was a rat poop mixed in with this group of elites, and it almost spoiled the pot of soup. I'm not very satisfied with this matter. Chapter 939. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, many people's eyes focused on Xiaoping. Obviously, they all knew that Ren Haodong was targeting Xiaoping. Why aren't you satisfied? Lu Wuming asked. Ren Haodong said in a deep voice, Leader, with all due respect, the number of people participating in this trial must be carefully selected and controlled. It's impossible to enter without restrictions. That's right. Lu Wuming nodded. In this way, many outstanding Grand Masters will fail to be selected and will not be able to get this opportunity. Ren Haodong said coldly, if the Grand Masters who enter this secret land trial are excellent enough and above everyone else, then those who fail will naturally have nothing to say. However, if the people who go in for the trial are of average strength, they will only be a burden and will die. Will the Grand Masters who fail to be selected be satisfied? Will they be satisfied? If we had known that the people who enter would die, it would have been better to leave this place for more outstanding people. This is my idea. I hope the leader can consider it. Everyone's faces were very strange. They knew that Ren Haodong was targeting Xiaoping. She almost pointed at Xiaoping's nose and said that this kid was weak and not qualified to participate in this trial. Although Xiaoping's aptitude was indeed amazing, he was still at the 6th level of Supreme Power Realm. Compared with many Grand Master Peak cultivators, there was still a certain gap. If this young man was given a little more time, he might be able to catch up quickly. The problem was that the trial was about to begin. There was no time for that. Zhao Zhong and the others looked very gloomy. They all felt that Ren Haodan was a little disrespectful. If he had any opinions, he could have put them forward in private, which would be good for everyone. However, this kid just had to put it forward at this time in front of the invincible king. This was clearly a slap in Xiaoping's face. He wanted to use the power of the invincible king to eliminate this competitor. He wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. If you have anything to say, just say it. Don't hesitate here like a girl, Xiaoping said lazily. You mean that my strength is a hindrance, and I'm not qualified to enter this trial at all, right? He looked at Ren Haodan indifferently. At least you have some self-awareness. That's a pretty good point. Ren Haodan sneered. Boom, in the blink of an eye, Xiaoping took a step forward. Like a rock, he soared through the air, and with lightning speed, he crossed the distance of several hundred meters to arrive in front of Ren Haodan. Immediately he punched, shook and exploded. What? Ren Haodan was shocked. He didn't expect this brat to be so arrogant. In front of so many kings and even invincible kings, he dared to attack him and launch a sneak attack. Moreover, this kid's speed was simply too fast. The speed of his punches was like lightning, so fast that the speed of his nerves could not even react. He only had time to raise his hands and circulate the stellar energy in his body to block Xiaoping's punch. Dong! The punch landed squarely on Ren Haodan's arms. Like a raging bull beating a drum, a booming sound rang out. The air exploded and shattered inch by inch. The power poured down like a flood, unstoppable. He stood on the ground and tried to resist it, but he couldn't bear this kind of huge force. His whole body kept falling back. Just like that, he was forced back dozens of meters. His feet left 2 deep grooves in the ground. The tyrannical force shook his arms until they were numb, and his whole body was trembling. The surrounding Supreme Masters all dodged to avoid the aftermath of the power. They immediately made an open space. The Supreme Masters glanced at Gu Shilai, Sun Yongdao, and Lu Wuming. It seemed that the 3 invincible kings had no intention of making a move. They didn't even ask the 2 of them to stop. They just watched with interest. These Supreme Masters also couldn't figure out the intention of the invincible kings, so they all remained silent and waited to see what would happen. Ren Haodan was shocked and angry. He glared at Xiaoping. He felt that he was about to vomit blood after taking this blow. His lungs seemed to have been seriously injured. Obviously, this guy's cultivation was only at the 6th level of the Supreme Power Realm. But his power was comparable to the peak of the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. There was even a terrible spiral force that penetrated his lungs and produced extreme destructive power. Even though he ran the protective Gang Qi on his body, he couldn't resist it at all. Dong! Xiaoping didn't even look at it. He didn't even pay attention to Ren Haodan's words. He directly kicked at him. It was like a wild elephant's attack. The elephant raised its hoof, which contained a power several times more terrifying than before. Immediately, there was a shrill sound of something breaking through the air, which frightened countless Supreme Masters. Oh no! Ren Haodan's face was pale. Just a punch had made him retreat dozens of meters. His hands were numb, and his lungs were injured. Now he was kicked by his opponent. It was terrible. The problem was that the brat was too close to him. His flying kick was like a bolt of lightning, leaving only an afterimage of the kick in the air. He couldn't resist such a fast speed and such a short distance. The next second, the foot accurately kicked on his chest. The tip of the foot contained the strong force of Gang Qi, the spiral force, and the terrible destructive power. Ah! Ren Haodan let out a shrill scream. This time, he could no longer resist. His protective Gang Qi was broken in an instant, and his whole body flew backward for hundreds of meters. With a bang, he was sent flying into the wall of the base, forcibly smashing out a human-shaped hole. Rocks flowed down from these marks. With a puff, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale. Keep shouting. Try shouting. Xiaoping condescendingly looked down at Ren Haodan. You dare to be arrogant in front of me with just this bit of strength? You even said that I'm weak, that I'm just a burden. How dare you say that? Although he didn't know why Run Howdon suddenly targeted him, he didn't mind trampling such a bird to death to warn others. Otherwise, if idiots like him kept jumping out, he was afraid that it would cause him a lot of trouble. You, in front of so many Supreme Masters, and even invincible Supreme Masters. Run Howdon was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were red, and he wanted to eat Xiaoping. You what? Are you very dissatisfied? Do you want to fight again? Now I can let you use both my hands and feet. Xiaoping sneered, not giving this guy any face at all. Chapter 940. Seeing Xiaoping's appearance, Zhao Zhong had a headache. He had asked this kid to keep a low profile in front of the invincible king. Now they had just met, and he had already started a fight. He even beat up a Supreme Master. Previously, this guy had said that he would keep a low profile. What the fuck? No matter how he looked at it, he did not look like he was keeping a low profile. Was there no such thing as keeping a low profile in his life? Zhao Zhong wanted to drag this bastard back. He did not know what the leader would think of such a rude behavior. If the leader was angry, it would be no small matter. He felt a strong sense of uneasiness. Staying with Xiaoping, a bomb that could explode at any time, was too insecure. This kid is very strong. Many Supreme Masters stared at Xiaoping. This young man's reputation was like the shadow of a tree. Everyone present had more or less heard about this young man, but they had only heard about him. They had never seen his true abilities. In this world, there were many people who did not live up to their reputation. They thought that this young man was one of them. However, when they saw Xiaoping beat Run Howdon, who was at the peak of the Supreme Power 9th Realm, in just a few moves, they knew that this young man was extraordinary. Even though he was only at the Supreme Power 6th Realm, his strength was no less than that of an ordinary Supreme Power 9th Realm. Some people said that this was a sneak attack, which was why it had such an effect. However, when one reached the Supreme Power Realm, he had already reached the realm of sensing the autumn wind before it moved. A mere sneak attack could not do anything to a Supreme Power Realm Master. If one had the ability to sneak attack a Supreme Power Realm Master, he would also have the ability to kill a Supreme Power Realm Master in a head-on fight. This was strength, not something that could be falsified. This was the way of martial artists. Whether one had the ability or not, they only needed to fight. How can he be so strong? Wu Quan and LV Shan's pupils also shrank. They were both shocked. They did not expect that Run Howdon would be beaten to the ground by this young man in just a few moves. This was completely different from what they had imagined. Originally, they wanted to take this opportunity to humiliate this guy. They did not expect that it would backfire. Instead, Run Howdon was humiliated and became a laughingstock. What kind of move is this? Many of the king tiers wanted to go even further. They were at a higher cultivation level, and they could completely sense the mysterious power contained within Xiaoping's moves. It was clearly an ordinary power, but when this young man used it, it was several times more destructive. Even the protective astral energy was unable to withstand it. Even with their king realm, they could not see through the mysteries within. They could only instinctively feel that this might be a martial art that surpassed the king realm. It was extraordinary. Not bad. This young man is not bad. Gu Shilai smiled and looked at Xiaoping with admiration. As expected of someone from the giant company, he was indeed very capable. What a powerful soul power. He is indeed a seedling of a king. Sun Yangdao's body emitted a strange fluctuation, as if he had sensed a secret on Xiaoping's body. Run Howdon, do you have any objections now? Lu Wuming asked as he looked at Run Howdon. Me. Run Howdon gritted his teeth and struggled to get up from the wall. Because he had the physique of an elite adept, it was not so easy for him to suffer injuries that he could not get up from. Hence he still had strength. He glared at Xiaoping fiercely. He wanted to recover from his injuries and fight with this brat again. But when he recalled this brat's exquisite fist technique and unstoppable power, he felt a chill. He instinctively felt that even if they fought again openly, he most likely would not be this brat's match. If he lost again, he would be asking to be humiliated. I have no objections. Enhoudon lowered his head and clenched his fists. His nails dug into his flesh, causing a trace of blood to flow out. Evidently, he felt extremely unwilling to be so useless. But before this, he also did not know that this young man was so powerful. Then, does anyone have any objections to Xia Ping joining this trial? Lu Wuming looked around at the elite adepts around him. No one could tell what he was thinking, and he seemed to have a fair and just attitude. If you have any objections, feel free to speak. I'm a very modest person and will humbly accept your opinions, Xia Ping said humbly, indicating that he was someone who could listen to others' opinions. Bullshit. Many of the evolved Jing masters looked at Xia Ping with disdain. If Xia Ping was really a humble and open-minded person, how could he have attacked Renhoudon just because of a disagreement? He showed no mercy and beat Renhoudon to the ground with a few punches and kicks. If it was not for Renhoudon's powerful strength, that attack would probably have him lying in the hospital for at least half a year. No matter how they looked at it, this bastard was a vengeful bastard. They were probably waiting to see who would jump out and cause trouble. This guy was probably waiting to take revenge. No, we have no objections. According to Brother Xia's battle prowess, joining this trial is a matter of course. That's right. If he can even defeat Renhoudon, then there is no doubt that he is qualified. Yes, we all agree. Many of the elite adepts did not have any objections. Just now, Xia Ping had defeated Renhoudon in just a few moves, which could be considered to have completely shocked all the elite adepts present. None of them dared to say anything anymore. Wu Quan and Lu Shan were also silent. Before seeing through Xia Ping's strength, they did not want to be the first to stand out and embarrass themselves like Renhoudon in front of so many elite adepts and kings. Alright, since no one has any objections, then Xia Ping will join the team for this trial. Lu Wuming stood with his hands behind his back. The trial will start tomorrow morning. You guys get ready. He waved his hand and let the elite adepts leave. Everyone, please follow me. We have prepared rooms for you to rest in the base. A group of soldiers came up and pointed out the path for Xia Ping and the rest. Following this, Xia Ping and the rest quickly left this empty space and went to the resting room of the Yanhuang base to rest. At this moment, many human kings and invincible kings had come to a conference room in the Yanhuang base. The surroundings were sealed, so no one could get any information from this conference room. The master trial was just the appetizer. The gathering of these kings was the real main course. Leader, may I know why you have asked us to gather together? Zhao Zhong and the other kings all knew that if it was just about the trial, the leader would not easily come out of seclusion, nor would he ask so many human kings to gather together. Something big must have happened to cause an invincible king to come out of seclusion and gather countless human kings to discuss this matter. Chapter 941. What? Hearing this, the kings present were shocked. They never thought that such news would come from the mouth of an invincible king. It was too shocking. Leader Gu, is this true? A king looked at Gu Shilai in shock, a little unable to believe his ears. It's true. It has been confirmed. Gu Shilai's face was very solemn. According to the speed of that spaceship, it should be able to reach the sky realm after a while. So far, we don't know whether they are enemies or friends. Why did they come? A spaceship? Many kings were silent. At their level, as the leaders of the human race, they naturally knew a lot of information that ordinary people did not know, including the existence of humans on other planets. In fact, for planet Yanhuang, the sky realm was actually an alien existence. It was just that they had been operating in this place for hundreds of years and had already regarded it as their own territory. In fact, with the development of technology, sooner or later, they would come into contact with aliens, but they did not expect it to be so fast and so unexpected. The more they understood the universe, the more they panicked about it. A planet like planet Yanhuang was actually just a low-level planet in the universe. In the eyes of advanced civilizations, it was just a native, an ant that could be wiped out with a wave of a hand. Even if the invincible kings seemed to be invincible in the sky realm, in the eyes of the alien experts, they were probably not worth mentioning. Once they encountered them, it would be a disaster for the humans of planet Yanhuang. Compared with the threat of Wanyao Mountain, the threat of aliens was the most terrible and the most impossible to resist. Leader, what should we do now? Many kings were panicking as they looked at the three invincible kings. Right now, only experts like these could become their backbone. No matter what else they had, it could not give them enough security. Everyone, don't worry too much, Gu Shilai said in a deep voice. First of all, there is only one such spaceship. It did not come in a group. I guess it is not to invade the sky realm. In this case, we may not necessarily have an armed conflict with the aliens. Secondly, the sky realm has a unique suppression of the heaven and earth rules. Cultivators higher than the divine power realm cannot exist here. So we do not need to worry about the strength of the other party. As long as the other party does not have enough people, we can use the tactic of numbers to suppress them. Sky realm was a continent that existed in the universe. The heaven and earth rules were very unique. It did not seem to be formed naturally, but it was created by a great power. Originally, the suppression of the divine power realm was not so serious. It seemed that after a tragic war in the ancient times, the power of the world was triggered, and the suppression of the creature's strength became more severe. Now cultivators higher than the realm could not survive in the sky, but of the world of the divine power realm could not. Since divine realm cultivators could not break through to treasure refining realm in the cloud realm, divine realm cultivators had been the strongest existence in the cloud realm since ancient times. This was unfair to the creatures living in the cloud realm. If they could not leave the cloud realm, they would not be able to pry into higher cultivation realms. However, if one were to think about it from another perspective, perhaps this was also a great fortune. No matter how strong the outsiders were, they would not be able to sweep through the creatures of the cloud realm and have the power to fight the aliens. Taking 10,000 steps back, even if we can't resist the alien invasion, we can give up the sky realm and move back to Yanhuang Star. This is also the last resort. Gu Shilai said that he had made a series of preparations. It was a foolproof plan. Whether it would succeed or not depended on fate. Leader Gu, what do you need us to do? The kings looked at Gu Shilai with serious expressions. Unite all the friends. If the aliens really invade the sky realm, it will not only be a matter of us humans. It will be a matter of the myriad monster mountain and the countless races in the endless sea. Gu Shilai's eyes were cold. Once the aliens come, they can't stay out of it. We must let them join the war. He needed many monarchs to personally go to the cloud realm and act as lobbyists to unite the countless races. Don't worry. Leave it to us. The group of monarchs all nodded. They knew that humans alone would not be able to resist this huge disaster, so they had to unite all the powers that could be united. Everyone. Gu Shilai looked at them. In the Great Destruction era, humans were weak. In front of the tyrannical monsters, they could not fight back. They were almost wiped out. In that era, the people of planet Yanhuang were not wiped out. This time, we will not be wiped out. If the aliens dare to cross the line, we will not let them go easily. His body was filled with a terrifying killing intent, causing people to be terrified. Yes, the human kings clenched their fists. For 1,000 years, they had encountered all kinds of storms. They had faced the biggest crisis and survived. This time would not be an exception. Even if they were to die, they would bite off a piece of the enemy's flesh. The next day, Xia Ping and the others came to the deepest part of the Yanhuang base under the guidance of the marshal. One of the entrances to the path of the Demon King was in the base. This is one of the entrances to the path of the Demon King, the marshal said, pointing to a dark hole in front of them. It was unfathomably deep like a black hole. There was a whirlpool spinning inside, and it was impossible to see what was inside. Many grandmasters were nervous. After all, this was a road of trial with 9 out of 10 chances of survival. If they could not reach the king realm, they would die inside. I'll tell you the truth, the marshal said in a low voice. We know very little about this trial. We don't know what the trial is about. We don't even know how to get out after entering. This is a road of 9 out of 10 chances of survival. If anyone wants to give up, You can decide now. This is not a forced decision. Once you enter, you will never be able to come out again. I hope everyone will be careful. He said the risks here. Don't worry, we already know this. There is no need to waste your breath. Those who can reach the Grandmaster level have long put life and death aside. For us, there is nothing more important than becoming a king. If you can't become a king, you'd rather die. One of the old Grandmasters said resolutely. For these old men who were stuck at the peak of the 9th level of the Grandmaster realm, if they did not become a king, they would die. Their lifespan would be exhausted, and there would be no more hope. Well, since you all know, I won't waste any more time. Go in. The marshal waved his hand. Whoosh, whoosh. The group of Grandmasters did not hesitate, and walked in one by one. Chapter 942. Boom. As soon as they stepped into the black vortex, the Grandmasters felt the world spin. In the next second, they appeared in another space and stepped on the ground. Ah, where are we? The Grandmasters looked around and found themselves in a primeval forest. The surroundings were lush, and birds were singing and flowers were fragrant. What a dense spiritual energy of heaven and earth! A Grandmaster could not help but exclaim. He felt that this strange space seemed to be filled with spiritual energy that was even denser than the cloud realm. It was equivalent to a holy land for cultivation. Because of this, the trees in this primeval forest were very tall. They were at least dozens of meters tall, and even the weeds were 2 meters tall. When people walked in, they were instantly drowned by the weeds. They could not be seen at all. What's going on? The black vortex has disappeared. How do we go back? Someone quickly discovered that there was a black vortex with a diameter of 2 to 3 meters on the ground. After they passed through it, it disappeared in a few seconds. There was no way back. Many Grandmasters had ugly expressions. Although they had been warned by the army marshal that there was no way back, they only realized the seriousness of this matter when they came to this trial ground. Don't worry. Since this is the trial space of the demon clan, it is not a space where death is certain. There must be a way back. We just need to look for it carefully. That's right. If there is a way in, there will naturally be a way back. It is said that this is a trial space, but what is the content of this trial? Indeed, if we don't know, we can't act. We don't know how to advance to the king realm at all. We are not the only ones in this trial space. There are also demon clan Grandmasters. If we can find them, we might be able to ask them. Many Grandmasters were experienced and far-sighted people. They had various ways to deal with all kinds of unexpected situations. Although they had no clue, they soon found a breakthrough. As long as they could find the geniuses of the demon clan, who were also participating in the trial, they would definitely find a way to find out the secret of this trial space. Xiaoping did not say anything. He just watched quietly. Rumble. At this moment, a strange vibration came from the depths of the forest. Immediately, the black demonic trees ran out in groups. They were completely black, and their bodies were filled with a strange black aura. They seemed to be corroding the surrounding green plants and devouring everything. Their feet were made up of countless roots, numbering in the hundreds. When they ran, they were like super tanks crushing everything in front of them. Boulders and trees were instantly smashed into smithereens. On the tree trunk, there were 2 deep black eyes, as well as a mouth full of sharp teeth. The teeth were like a saw, and were even more ferocious than the teeth of a shark. What kind of creature is this? Why is it different from the previous ones? 2 hands, 2 feet, no tail, wings and scales. Why does it look like a legendary human? Tisk tsk, so what if you're a human? Anyone who dares to intrude into this space will die. No one is an exception. Attack. Kill them all. Leave no one alive. I wonder what the flesh and blood of the legendary human tastes like. The taste must be excellent. These black demonic trees quickly discovered the existence of Xiaoping and the others. Although they were a little surprised, they reacted quickly. Their murderous aura surged, and they rushed over like an army charging, emitting a strong killing intent. To them, any living creature that intruded into this space was an invader, and they had to die. Demonic trees? There are demonic trees in this place? Are they monsters from the Thousand Demon Mountain? No, they're completely different. These black demonic trees contain an evil and dark aura. It's simply a collection of killing. Although the Thousand Demon Mountain is also full of monsters, they are still rational, and their bodies would not be surrounded by such a dark and bloody aura. Are they creatures from this space? I don't know. Anyway, they're enemies, not friends. Kill these demonic trees. Seeing these black tree demons charging at them, the human grandmasters did not hold back. All of them were veterans who had been through countless battles. Of course, they would not panic over such a small matter. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, these black demonic trees rushed over. Hundreds of their roots shot out like spears, tearing the air and whistling, covering an area. Die! A saber grandmaster immediately took out a treasured saber and slashed at it. With a bang, sparks flew in all directions. It was a powerful strike, but he was incomparably shocked, because this saber couldn't even cut through the roots of the black demonic tree. When the sword slashed on the roots, it was like slashing on steel, causing his hand to go numb. Weak human. A black demonic tree smiled malevolently. With a poochie sound, dozens of roots instantly pierced through the Blade Dao Grandmaster's body. Dozens of bloody holes appeared in his body with a swooshing sound. But what made the surrounding human masters even more frightened was that these roots that pierced into the body of the Saber Master actually produced a strong devouring power. After a few breaths, the body of the Saber Master turned into a withered corpse, as if he was a 1,000-year-old mummy, and the black demonic tree exploded with bloody light, like a bloody sun, extremely dazzling. It actually revealed an expression of satisfaction. Human, not bad, delicious food. After devouring a human master, the black demonic tree's power and aura increased greatly. Seeing this, the other demonic trees were all excited. The legendary humans are indeed top-class food. Devouring one can greatly increase one's power. These are all spiritual herbs. Capture them alive, kill them, and refine them. Many black demonic trees' eyes glowed with bloody light, and they howled, spreading for miles. As if hearing this howl, countless demonic trees in the depths of the forest started to shake. The ground shook, as if there was a super earthquake, with a magnitude of 7 or 8. The human masters present immediately knew that these black demonic trees were gathering companions. Just these black demonic trees alone could cause great trouble. If their numbers kept increasing, they would definitely die. They didn't expect to encounter such a crisis as soon as they stepped into this trial space. Go to hell! A black demonic tree growled. It actually stared at Xiaoping, who was in front of it. According to its perception, this human was the weakest among the group. As the saying goes, to pinch a persimmon is to pinch the soft one. These black demonic trees were the same. They wanted to kill the weak human in the first attack, and then slowly encircle the stronger human. You're courting death. Chapter 943. Xiaoping made his move immediately. He had no intention of showing mercy to the black tree demon that was trying to kill him. Superior king-level martial arts technique, clapless palm. He struck out with his palm soundlessly. Even the air did not fluctuate at all. The black tree demon did not feel any danger. It still treated Xiaoping as a soft persimmon that it could crush at will. However, in the next second, the palm landed on the black tree demon, and a terrifying force exploded. Dong! The black tree demon's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. The terrifying destructive force vibrated crazily in its body. Even the Sword Dao Grandmaster's all-out attack could not break its roots. Now, under Xiaoping's palm, it broke inch by inch, exploding into countless wood shavings. Ah! The black tree demon let out a shrill scream. Its entire body split into countless pieces, and a large amount of black liquid sprayed on the ground. With a sizzling sound, the black liquid corroded the ground, turning all the weeds growing on the ground into nothingness. Damn it, this human dares to kill my people. Let's go together and kill him. I want to eat him and swallow his flesh. Previously, these black tree demon had easily killed a human grandmaster. They thought that all humans were so weak, like sheep that could only be killed. However, now they saw a human with a very weak aura suddenly attack and instantly kill one of their companions. They did not even have the strength to fight back. Instantly, they were enraged and almost lost their minds. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 black demonic trees attacked, covering the sky and covering the earth. From east, west, south, north, and south, they surrounded Xiaoping tightly, not giving Xiaoping any chance to escape. At the same time, each black tree demon waved hundreds of terrifying roots like a group of demons dancing. Just one black tree demon was already so terrifying. Now that 7 or 8 tree demon had appeared, the threat simply increased exponentially. Thousands of spear-like roots shot out. Any human grandmaster would probably not be able to withstand it, and would definitely die. This kid is finished. The surrounding human grandmasters felt that it was a pity. This famous genius was going to die just after entering the trial space. It was such a pity. But now, they couldn't even take care of themselves and couldn't lend a helping hand. Unmovable Buddha palms profound meaning. Buddha's radiance illumination. At this moment, Xiaoping was unfazed. He circulated the pure yang immortal incantation, causing his earth energy to tremble, as he unleashed a king-class fist technique toward the group of demonic trees. This punch was an area of effect fist technique. With a single punch, hundreds and thousands of fist prints seemed to appear in the void. Each fist imprint contained a terrifying flame energy, emitting a blazing radiance, as if a Buddha had appeared, subduing demons and devils, illuminating the world. Bang, bang, bang. These fist prints bombarded the roots of the black demonic tree. Every time they collided, an astonishing loud sound would erupt. It was like a missile exploding, the air exploding and roaring. The fiery power of the fists also exploded, spreading in all directions, and landing on the bodies of the black demonic trees like raindrops. These flames were like inextinguishable flames. When they landed on the black demonic trees, they used the black aura and black liquid as fuel, and began to burn crazily. Ah! Suddenly, the black demonic trees let out shrill screams, like pigs being slaughtered. They had never experienced such terrible pain before. This was a burning from the depths of their souls. To these black demonic trees, the terrifying flames formed by the essence of the sun on Xiaoping's body were simply their natural nemesis, completely suppressing them. Even a little bit of it would cause great harm. In just a few breaths, the originally arrogant and abnormally ferocious black demonic trees were burned into black charcoal. Some parts were even reduced to ashes. Seeing this, all the black demonic trees present went crazy. If only a few of their companions had died, they wouldn't have been so crazy. But now they were killed without any resistance. Their entire bodies were burned to ashes, unable to resist at all. This caused endless fear to rise in their hearts. Damn it! How can this human master such a terrifying flame energy? Kill him immediately. This is the nemesis of our Blackwood tribe. This is our natural enemy. Many black demonic trees screamed crazily. Originally, in this space, these black demonic trees didn't have any natural enemies. With their extremely strong recovery ability and the corrosive power of the black liquid, they were simply like locusts, sweeping away everything. No matter what kind of race encountered them, they would die a violent death, or be exterminated easily. But now the situation had completely changed. Encountering this human who could control such a terrifying flame, he had killed the Blackwood tribe like chickens. This made them extremely panicked. Like a flock of chickens encountering their natural enemy, a weasel, they were on the verge of going crazy. Whoosh! Whoosh! Now, not only were there 7 or 8 black demonic trees attacking, but there were also dozens of them. It was as if they had an irreconcilable hatred with Xiaoping, and they wouldn't stop until one of them was dead. They even roared and shouted to their companions, saying that even if they had to pay a huge price, they would kill this human. A natural enemy like this should not exist in this world. Little friend, don't be afraid. I will help you. Suddenly, 2 or 3 human grandmasters jumped out. They were all old and clumsy, at least 100 or 200 years old. Their bodies emitted an aura of old age. However, their bodies were extremely vigorous, like a round sun. blooming with dazzling light. One was a Xingyi grandmaster, who had mastered the Xingyi fist technique. Every punch and kick was like a terrifying killing weapon, incomparably ferocious, exploding with terrifying power like a missile, the air exploding. One was a Tai Chi grandmaster in a white robe. His fist technique was both soft and hard, and he stood on the ground, seemingly forming a Tai Chi vortex with his body as the center, controlling the airflow. One was a military boxing grandmaster. He seemed to be a grandmaster who had killed his way out of the army. He was proficient in military boxing and killing techniques, and every move was aimed at killing. The three grandmasters attacked and instantly destroyed three black demonic trees. Wood chips flew everywhere, causing the black demonic trees' attacks to stagnate and intimidate the enemies. Good. Xia Ping didn't expect three human grandmasters to help at this critical moment. He also attacked repeatedly, manipulating the power of flames to burn the black demonic trees to death. Originally, he thought that he could combine the power of many human grandmasters to completely kill this group of demonic trees. However, he didn't expect that in the next second, Wu Quan, Lu Shan, Ren Haodan, and the other grandmasters would take the lead and escape. They took advantage of the moment when they were fighting with the black demonic trees to quickly escape. Chapter 944. They're running away. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Although he was already mentally prepared that this group of masters would not work together, he did not expect them to choose to run away together at this time, abandoning them without the slightest intention of helping. This group of bastards. The three old masters' expressions were very ugly. They were instantly infuriated by this group of human masters, who took the opportunity to escape. Even though they knew that some of them liked to watch others die, they did not expect that they would run away, without even daring to fight. This kind of courage was even smaller than that of a mouse. It would be stupid to help you. Wu Quan and Lu Shan sneered, not caring at all about the anger of the three old masters. They could clearly see the current situation, which was that the human masters were at an absolute disadvantage. This was because this was the territory of the Black Tree Demons, and there was a steady stream of troops coming from afar. Even if they killed dozens of Black Tree Demons in a short time, they would be trapped in the mud of war. At that time, who knew how many masters would be killed or injured before they could escape with their lives? They did not come to this trial space to die, but to search for opportunities. Each of them had their own thoughts, and it was impossible for them to sacrifice their lives for others. Therefore, when they saw that someone was actually entangling this group of Black Tree Demons, creating an opportunity for them to escape, they did not have any reason to stay, and each of them slipped away. Xia Ping, this is divine punishment, divine punishment. Just die obediently under the siege of this group of Black Tree Demons. Haodan's heart was filled with incomparable joy. As for this bastard who had once humiliated him, he could not wait to see him suffer 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Therefore, seeing that Xia Ping was surrounded, he would definitely not help. Instead, he would curse fiercely, letting this bastard die under the siege of countless Black Tree Demons. In just a few breaths' time, the group of human masters disappeared completely, leaving only Xia Ping and the 3 old masters to fight this group of Black Tree Demons alone. What should we do? Did this group of humans escape? Ignore these cowardly people. Kill this human who can control fire. He can actually control fire that can harm our Blackwood tribe. This human really deserves to die. We definitely can't let him live. Yes, other humans don't matter, but this human must die. Many Black Tree Demons were full of murderous intent. They did not care about the other humans who were escaping, but specifically targeted Xia Ping. All of them attacked with murderous intent. Damn it. The 3 old Grand Masters immediately felt the majestic pressure of dozens of black demonic trees. Each black demonic tree had at least the strength of the Supreme Master 7th Heaven or above. Furthermore, there were too many enemies. 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Bang bang bang. The tree branches were like sharp arrows and long spears, piercing through everything and bombarding the 3 grandmasters. In an instant, they were heavily injured and couldn't help but cough up blood. This won't do. There are too many of these black demonic trees. I can't kill them all. Little friend Xia, run away. With us 3 old bones here, you should be able to stall for some time. You are still young, and you have the strength to become an invincible king. You should not die here. The 3 old grandmasters were brimming with killing intent as they stood in front of Xia Ping, trying to buy him some time to escape. There's no need, senior. I can kill these black demonic trees like killing pigs and dogs. A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes, and his killing intent soared. He grabbed at the air, and a divine sword immediately appeared in his hand. This was a precious weapon obtained from the celestial demon battlefield, the flaming dragon divine sword. The moment this treasured sword appeared, a fiery dragon seemed to rise from the void, emitting endless heat. It was like a sun, spanning across the void. With Xia Ping's body as the center, a flaming aura of several miles immediately erupted, and the surrounding temperature instantly rose by hundreds, or even thousands of degrees. Kill. Xia Ping held the flaming dragon divine sword, and operated the pure yang immortal incantation. The majestic flame gang qi in his body was like an ocean, crazily surging into the flaming dragon divine sword. With a precious fire weapon like the flaming dragon divine sword, coupled with Xia Ping's pure yang immortal incantation, the essence of the sun, and other fire energy, the power was increased by more than 10 times. With a slash of the sword, hundreds of flaming dragons suddenly appeared in midair, condensed into a solid substance, roared in the void, and pounced toward the black demonic trees, boiling with killing intent. Bang bang bang. These flaming dragons pounced on the black demonic trees, opened their fangs and bit down. In an instant, the black demonic trees' branches were bitten to pieces, making cracking sounds. These flames even burned crazily on the black demonic trees, and in just a few breaths, they turned into huge torches, the flames soaring into the sky. No, no, no! The black demonic trees let out shrill screams, rolling on the ground, constantly struggling, trying to use mud or water to extinguish the fire, but to no avail. This was like a flame burning on top of oil. This method not only failed to extinguish the flames, but also made the flames more intense, seeping into every part of their bodies. The most terrifying thing was that these black demonic trees were too densely packed, and the flames burned like a forest fire, spreading one after another. This was simply a one-sided massacre. From a distance, it looked like a forest fire had broken out. Hundreds of trees were burning, and people within 100 miles could clearly see the flames soaring into the sky. The ground was also burned by the flames, turning into a pile of black charcoal. Too fierce. Where did he get this precious fire weapon? This is simply heaven-defying. Are all the young people these days so incredible? The 3 old grandmasters were all dumbfounded. Previously, when they were being chased by hundreds of black demonic trees, they were in a precarious situation, and there was almost no chance of survival. They had planned to sacrifice themselves to buy some time for Xia Ping to escape. They had the grief and indignation of facing death with equanimity, but they did not expect the situation to take a turn for the worse, and there was no need to escape at all. Xia Ping, alone with his sword, was like a god of fire descending, burning the world. These black demonic trees that looked incomparably ferocious and evil were killed one by one, burned and turned into ashes. Their large numbers had instead become their disadvantage, the most fatal weakness. Senior, run quickly. After killing a group of black demonic trees, Xia Ping called out to the 3 old grandmasters, and they quickly fled. That was because this move had used up almost all of his stellar energy. Behind them, there were still countless black demonic trees attacking. If they continued to stay in this place, they would probably be drowned in the black demonic trees' attacks. He would also die from exhausting his stellar chi. Chapter 945. 2 hours later, Xia Ping and the 3 old grandmasters ran wildly and finally got rid of the pursuit of the black demonic trees. They came to a secret cave in the forest, which was a place for a short rest. He also learned the names of the 3 grand masters: Lu Qi, the Xingyi Grand Master, Guo Tsuani, and Li Yun, the military boxing Grand Master. They were all old monsters, who had lived for more than 200 years. However, because of their limited qualifications, they had been stuck at the peak of the supreme power realm, and had not broken through. Therefore, they entered this trial space, in order to find the opportunity to break through. Thank you for your help. I'm grateful. Xiaoping cupped his hands and said. Guotsuani, the Tai Chi Grand Master, waved his hand and said, It's not a help. It's just a hindrance. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid the three of us would have died here. Indeed, after living for more than 200 years, this is all I can do. Lu Qi, the Xingyi Grand Master, sighed. Li Yun, the military boxing Grand Master, was silent. Obviously, he was also a little unwilling. The previous scene had brought great excitement to them. The three old men, who were more than 600 years old, were actually not as good as a young man. The gap was too big. Seniors, there is no need to belittle yourself. As the saying goes, age does not determine one's ambition. If you can be promoted to the king realm this time, your lifespan will be greatly increased. At that time, 200 years will just be the beginning, Xiaoping said carelessly. Of course, if you haven't been promoted to the king realm at more than 200 years old, your qualifications are indeed a little poor. I can understand that you are discouraged. But you don't have to compare yourself with me. In any case, I am a once-in-a-thousand-years genius. If you compare yourself with me, it's like showing off in front of Confucius, or showing off in front of Guan Yu. You are a little overconfident. He stood with his hands behind his back, showing an appearance of being the only one seeking defeat. Bullshit. Hearing this, Guotsuani, the Tai Chi Grand Master, was so angry that his beard curled up. Don't be fooled by your young age. If you don't use a precious weapon, believe it or not, I won't be at a disadvantage if we fight. I can even defeat you with one hand. He grimaced and was very unconvinced. Xiaoping's words had aroused his fighting spirit. Is there anyone who comforts others like you? The Xingyi Grandmaster, Lu Qi, was also speechless. He knew that Xiaoping's words weren't out of discrimination or malice. He was just trying to comfort them. But why was it so awkward to say these words? It made him angry. I finally know why you have so many enemies in the world. Even I want to beat you up a little. I kind of regret saving you. The corners of the military boxing Grandmaster Li Yun's mouth twitched. Senior, it's already too late to know about this. There's no medicine for regret in this world. Xiaoping waved his hand. But the injuries on your bodies are a bit heavy. It's better if you take some healing pills. With a backhand slap, 2 or 3 dark green pills immediately appeared in his right palm. This is a top-grade healing pill, the Jade Radish pill. You actually have it. The 3 old grandmasters widened their eyes. They knew how precious this Jade Radish pill was. It was said that as long as a person still had a breath left, he could save them. Healing pills are a must when traveling the pugilistic world. You don't have to stand on ceremony. I have a lot of these pills. I have several boxes at home. Xiaoping revealed a rich and overbearing look. These healing pills had been plundered from the Shark Demon Monarch's treasure trove. He had basically never suffered any injuries, so these healing pills were useless to him. Now he could take them out and make use of them. The 3 old grandmasters were speechless. They were shocked by Xiaoping's wealth. Even a monarch probably did not have several boxes of Jade Radish pills at home. How rich was this fellow? However, they suddenly recalled the many deeds Xiaoping had done. He had auctioned off a demon monarch's descendant and plundered the Shark Demon Monarch's treasure trove. Just these 2 deeds alone were enough to make this kid rich overnight. The amount of wealth he had was probably something an ordinary large family could not accumulate in 10 lifetimes. I'll cut to the chase. These Jade Radish pills are indeed what we need now. I will remember this favor, little friend. If we can get out of here alive, we will definitely repay you generously. The 3 grandmasters looked at each other and cupped their hands at Xiaoping. They were very serious. They were not pedantic people. They knew how dangerous it was to drag their heavily injured bodies in this trial space that was fraught with danger. Therefore, they had to treat their injuries as soon as possible. As for Xiaoping's life-saving grace, they would remember it. Once they had the ability, they would definitely repay him. This was also their code of conduct. Otherwise, They would not have stepped forward in times of danger. Soon, the three grandmasters swallowed the jade radish pills that Xia Ping had taken out. These were indeed supreme-grade healing pills. Although they had suffered serious injuries, and their lungs had been damaged, they quickly recovered under the treatment of the jade radish pills. It was as if they had been soaked in a high-level nutrient solution. Their various injuries recovered to their original state. In merely an hour, they'd recovered completely. Young brother, according to your natural talent and wealth, advancing into the king realm is only a matter of time. Why did you take the risk to follow us into this trial space that has a slim chance of survival? Asked Guotsuni curiously. After the battle from before, he'd understood how terrifying Xia Ping's natural talent was. Advancing into the king realm was only a matter of time, so there was utterly no need for Xia Ping to fight for such a dangerous fortuitous encounter with them, who were on the verge of death. Seniors, it's a slim chance of survival for all of you, but it's only a stepping stone for true geniuses. Would such a tiny place be dangerous? Xia Ping gazed at the three old men with contempt, and he seemed to be unable to understand their thoughts. It was like how a mouse would flee in terror when encountering a cat, but a tiger would flatten the cat with a single slap. They weren't on the same level at all. Young brother Xia, fortunately, I've lived for over 200 years, and I'm shrewd enough to barely control myself. Otherwise, the consequences of speaking such words would be rather severe. Guotsuni's expression was extremely dark. As expected, I can't get along with you. Our personalities aren't compatible, and there's a generation gap. The Xingyi Grandmaster Lu Qi bared his teeth. To be honest, young brother Xia, it's very easy for you to be beaten up if you walk out on the streets like this. The military boxing grandmaster, Li Yun, clenched his fists tightly, but he quickly relaxed them again. He forcefully resisted the urge to beat Xia Ping up. Senior, there seems to be some movement up ahead. Xia Ping originally wanted to say a few words of modesty, but suddenly, his spiritual power sensed intense battle fluctuations in the distance. It wasn't far from here, only 2 to 3 kilometers away. It's the demon race. A trace of cold light flashed in the eyes of the military boxing grandmaster, Li Yin, and his spiritual power spread out. I've been in the army for over 100 years, and I've experienced several wars with the demon race. I've killed countless demons. This aura is definitely from the demon race. His tone was resolute and decisive. Let's go and take a look. Chapter 946. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xia Ping and the three old grandmasters leaped around and controlled the airflow. They shuttled through the forest like supersonic airplanes and soon arrived at the battlefield. What monsters are these? Tai Chi Grandmaster Guotsuni was shocked. He immediately saw dozens of 100-meter-tall rock giants appearing on a vast plain in front of him. They were similar to ordinary giants with hands, feet, eyes, mouths, noses, and so on. However, their bodies were made of rock and were different from the demons. In fact, they were even different from humans. If they had to be categorized, in the universe, the demon race and the human race were actually considered the same race. They were considered life forms of flesh and blood, and had their own bodies. However, these rock giants were not flesh and blood at all. They were a unique life form that was neither human nor demon. They would not bleed even if they were hurt. At that moment, dozens of demons appeared in front of these rock giants. These demons were in a sorry state when faced with the rock giants' attacks. They fled frantically, and almost all of them were injured. They were forced into a desperate situation, and were about to die. These rock giants are very strong. Li Yun, the military boxing grandmaster, narrowed his eyes. He could see that every rock giant was a true martial Dao grandmaster, who had mastered exquisite martial skills. Ordinary humans had a biased view of giants. They thought that because of their large size, their movements would definitely be very slow. However, in fact, this was a huge mistake. It was like comparing humans and ants. To ants, humans were more than 1,000,000 times larger than themselves, but were humans very slow? By the same logic, these 100-meter-tall rock giants moved incredibly fast like humans. They were extremely flexible, fast, and agile. They had also mastered extremely powerful martial skills. One could imagine that no matter how powerful these demon geniuses were, they would still be beaten into a sorry state when faced with such powerful rock giants. They could only flee in all directions. I've met someone familiar. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows and probed with his mental strength. He immediately sensed the identities of the dozens of demons. Among them were Tu Linglong, the Crow of Misfortune, the Metal Tiger, the Three-Eyed Giant, the Green Luan, and other demon geniuses. Apart from these demon geniuses, there were also many veteran demon grandmasters that he had never seen before. However, it was obvious that even with so many demon grandmasters gathered together, they were still being beaten back by these rock giants and were on the verge of death. Bang! A stone giant punched out. The fist that was like a small mountain struck out, bringing with it a shocking gust of wind as it smashed into the body of a grandmaster demon. Ah! The grandmaster monster let out a shrill scream. It was unable to withstand such a shocking force. Its entire body was smashed into pieces and turned into a mass of minced meat. Die! Several demon grandmasters went berserk as they charged at the stone giant in front of them. Terrifying astral winds formed in midair, but when they struck the stone giant, they only produced some stone chips. They failed to harm the stone giant in the slightest. Seeing this, the rock giant revealed a disdainful smile and slapped out with his palm. Immediately, 3 or 4 monster grandmasters were sent flying like flies. They had no power to resist at all. They flew backward for 5 or 6 kilometers and finally smashed into a mountain in the distance. Obviously, after experiencing such a fierce attack, these monster grandmasters could no longer survive. This won't do. This rock giant is too powerful. Its strength is many times stronger than ours. Even the toughness of its body is extremely terrifying. Our attacks can't harm this rock giant at all. How are we supposed to fight it? We're so unlucky. We were so careful. But how did we get discovered by this group of rock giants? The Crow of Misfortune, the Metal Tiger, the Three-Eyed Giant, and the other monsters all had extremely ugly expressions. They did not expect to encounter such misfortune in just a few days after entering the trial space. If this continued, they would die before they could advance to the Demon King realm. Sister Green Phoenix. Tu Linglong was very worried. She could not help but look at Green Phoenix beside her. Due to the rock giant's attack, Green Phoenix had suffered considerable damage. She had lost 50% of her strength. Don't worry. Even in such a dangerous situation, Green Phoenix still maintained absolute calmness. We are no match for these rock giants in a head-on battle. However, they are huge and can't travel through the complicated terrain. If we hide in the caves of the mountains, they won't be able to find us. She believed that they had no chance of winning a head-on battle, but there was still a chance of winning by escaping. Let's escape. That's right. If we split up, no matter how powerful those rock giants are, they won't be able to kill all of us. If we're lucky, some of us can survive. Alright, then let's part ways here. I wish you all good luck. Hearing these words, the surrounding monsters looked at each other. They could all see each other's intention to retreat. They knew that if they continued to resist stubbornly, only death would await them. It was better to split up. That way, some of them would be able to survive. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the demons fled in all directions. Some fled to the east. Some fled to the west. Some fled to the north. Some fled to the south. As for Tu Linglong and Green Phoenix, they fled to the east. In an instant, all the monsters fled in all directions. The rock giant was caught off guard by this move. However, this action also completely enraged the rock giant. An ant wants to escape? Dream on. Attack together. Surround them from all directions. Not a single monster can escape. Kill them, one by one. The rock giants let out an earth-shattering roar. They also split up and chased after the escaping monsters, as though they would not rest until one of them was dead. They were huge and traversed hundreds of meters with a single step. Their speed was not something that ordinary monsters could compare with. In a few breaths, Some of the rock giants caught up to some of the escaping monsters and immediately smacked a few of them to death. Don't look back. Run. Green Phoenix was expressionless. A pair of wings grew on its back and constantly flapped as it fled with Tu Linglong. It was like a supersonic plane that even the rock giants could not catch up to. However, when they rushed to the edge of the forest, they were given a huge fright. This was because they sensed a few tyrannical auras lying in ambush at the edge of the forest, as though they were waiting for their prey. It's over. Could it be that those detestable rock giants have ambushed us? Tu Linglong immediately felt despair. Green Phoenix was also on guard. Chapter 947. Xiaoping of the Human Race? Hearing Tu Linglong's voice, the fleeing demons were also startled. Ignoring the fact that they were being chased by the rock giant, they all looked in Tu Linglong's direction. Compared to the threat of the rock giant, Xiaoping of the human race was clearly more important. Oh my god, it really is Xiaoping of the human race. I'll recognize him even if he turns into ashes, the crow of misfortune shrieked. Its eyeballs almost popped out as it stared at Xiaoping in the distance. Metal Tiger, Three-Eyed Giant, and the other prodigies of the demon race were also shocked. What's going on? Isn't this the trial space of our demon race? How did the humans get in? This doesn't make sense. Is this part of the trial? Are these all illusions? Bullshit illusion. This is Xiaoping. How can an illusion be so real? Could it be that the humans found a flaw in the path of demon kings and took this opportunity to send a group of humans in to compete with us for the opportunity to become demon kings? That's definitely the case. Otherwise, why would these humans appear in the path of demon kings? Shameless humans. All they know is to steal from others and take a free ride. Don't they have the spirit of innovation? Who knows how many good things our demon race has? But these shameless humans use despicable means to steal them. Many demons gritted their teeth. They were so angry that their lungs almost exploded. These shameless humans actually had the face to take a share of the opportunity that originally belonged to their demon race. They all stared angrily at Xiaoping in the distance. Little maid, how have you been? Xiaoping completely ignored the gazes around him and looked at Tu Linglong with a smile. Ah! Tu Linglong shrieked. As if remembering the fear of being bullied by Xiaoping, she jumped behind Qing Wan in fright. Her two rabbit ears were swaying gently. Are you a human or a ghost? Why did it appear in the trial mystic realm of our demon race? Tu Linglong seemed to have the support of Qing Wan, so she became a little bolder and asked hesitantly. She was simply stunned by Xiaoping's sudden appearance in this place. She couldn't imagine it even if she racked her brains. If this was a nightmare, she wanted to wake up immediately. Qing Wan also felt very astonished. She also did not think that the important place of the Thousand Demon Mountain would actually be invaded by humans. Before, there was not even the slightest bit of news about it. It was too strange. Why are you here? What's so strange about that? This training space doesn't belong to your family. I can appear whenever I want, Xiaoping said in an overbearing manner, treating this place as his territory. Bullshit. Tu Linglong gritted her teeth. This trial space belongs to our myriad demon mountain. What despicable method did you humans use to get in here? She could be considered to have a new understanding of Xiaoping's shamelessness. This training space clearly belonged to the Wanyao Mountain. It had been like that since ancient times. But this shameless human actually still openly treated this place as his own territory. Little maid, I haven't seen you for a while, but you've grown bolder. You even dare to question your master. Xiaoping cast a sidelong glance at Tu Linglong with a dangerous look. Great Demon King, I won't be afraid of you. Sister Qing Wan is here. This time, you won't be able to bully me. Being stared at by Xiaoping like that, Tu Linglong was so scared that she curled up behind Qing Wan, afraid that she would be caught by Xiaoping again. At that time, she might even be betrayed again. Xiaoping still wanted to say something, but suddenly, he felt tens of dangerous gazes shooting down from the sky. They condensed and condensed, full of killing intent. Just when he was talking to Tu Linglong, these rock giants also discovered Xiaoping's existence. What's going on? Why are there a few small things in this place? From what these monsters said, it seems like they are from a race called humans. They are extremely powerful. Who cares what race they are? External creatures that dare to invade this space must die. Do it, crush this so-called human to death. Tens of rock giants communicated with each other. They quickly reached an agreement and rushed toward Xiaoping. Boom! Just at that moment, a rock giant leaped over from afar and landed in midair. Its fist that was like a small mountain smashed down just like that, bringing along a terrifying astral wind. Under such power, even a small mountain would collapse. Its power was boundless. Seeing this, Xiaoping took a step forward and punched the void, meeting it head-on. Foolish, puny creature. Seeing that Xiaoping actually dared to meet it head-on with his fist, the rock giant immediately burst into laughter. It was as if it was looking at some kind of idiot, stupidity to a shocking extent. Who didn't know that rock giants were unparalleled in strength, and could easily move mountains and drain seas? Their physiques were also not on the same level. This human was as small as an ant. But even with such a difference in strength, this kid actually dared to punch them head-on. If this wasn't stupidity, then what was? But the moment the rock giant came into contact with Xiaoping's fist, its expression changed drastically. What the hell is this? The rock giant felt that its huge fist, that had always been successful, had now appeared. Now an extremely strong challenger had appeared. A terrifying power erupted from its fist, toppling the mountains and overturning the seas, like a flood. Just this power alone was enough to overturn its entire body. But what scared it the most was that the opponent's fist force was a spiral fist force, like a vortex or an electric drill. It followed along its fist, inch by inch, and finally seeped into its lungs. Ah! The rock giant let out a mournful scream. Its entire body flew across the air, and disintegrated in the air. The tyrannical spiral energy seeped into its 5 viscera and 6 bowels. Its arms and legs began to disintegrate inch by inch. The black soul fire that was originally in the depths of its pupils also fell apart because of this punch. The rock giant's body also became fragmented, and gravel flew everywhere. These gravel also fell from the sky, gathered together, and formed a small stone mountain. What? Originally, Tu Linglong thought that she was dead for sure. Being chased by a rock giant meant that she would die without a doubt. The rock giant would punch her into minced meat. But she didn't expect that this great demon king of the human race, Xiaoping, was so ferocious that he was in a complete mess. Not only did he not lose out in strength when fighting the rock giant head-on, he even used the power of his fist technique to break the other party's body. Who knew how many times stronger he was compared to before? At this moment, Xiaoping really had a trace of the aura of a peerless demon. Human, you're courting death. Seeing that one of their companions was blown up by Xiaoping's punch, the remaining rock giants were extremely ferocious. They roared and many rock giants charged toward Xiaoping. Chapter 948. Immediately, dozens of rock giants rushed over. It was as if dozens of mountains were crushing down, producing an extreme pressure that seemed to block the entire sky. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Fists that were like mountains smashed over, sealing off any space for Xiaoping to escape. The power was so great that the surrounding air was as heavy as cement. Oh no! Seeing this, Qing Wan's expression changed. Although the rock giants' attacks were mainly aimed at Xiaoping, they were standing at the side, and were affected as well. Her reaction was extremely fast. She pulled Tu Linglong and immediately flew to the side, flying hundreds of meters away in a few breaths, out of the attack range of these rock giants. Kunpeng steps. Xiaoping also used exquisite steps. His entire body was like a kunpeng, wandering wantonly in the void. His control of the air was superb. The surrounding earth energy vibrated like a whirlpool, constantly strangling, but to the kunpeng, this was the best place. The power of the countless air currents were all for it to use. With a whoosh, his figure flickered and left the attack range of the rock giants. Bang bang bang. In an instant, just as Xiaoping left, the rock giant's fists arrived in an instant and bombarded the ground, immediately creating a deep pit with a diameter of hundreds of meters. Dozens of rock giants' fists smashed down, and the area within a radius of dozens of kilometers trembled. The air currents condensed into a substance, spreading in all directions like sound waves. Many trees were shattered by the sound waves, and many huge rocks were turned into powder. Even the nearby hills showed signs of collapsing, and astonishing cracks appeared everywhere. These were the rock giants, the absolute rulers of the earth. Kill. Although many rock giants were shocked when they failed to hit Xiaoping, they had no intention of holding back. They were like martial Dao masters, displaying their fists and legs, trying to capture Xiaoping's figure. Immediately, a rock giant formed a circle with its hands. As if displaying a martial technique similar to Tai Chi, its hands produced a terrifying suction force, pulling in countless air currents. With its body as the center, all the air currents within a radius of 2 to 3 kilometers were under its control. It seemed that all living creatures in this area could not escape its control of the air currents. So strong! Seeing this scene, the pupils of the 3 old grandmasters contracted, and they could not help but exclaim out loud. Just the size and agility of the giant alone were already outrageous enough. It was not what ordinary people imagine giants to be. Now he had even grasped a peerless martial technique. This was simply infuriating. Found you, and die for me. A ferocious expression appeared on the stone giant's face as it sensed Xiaoping's presence. Its hand blotted out the sky as it slapped out, as if it had sensed Xiaoping's aura and sealed off all of his movements. You want me to die? How could there be such a simple thing? Xiaoping sneered. He did not dodge at all, instead grabbing at the air and pulling out the soul-absorbing bell from his space ring. Ring! Under Xiaoping's all-out infusion of astral energy, the bewitching soul bell emitted tinkling sounds. It was like a death knell, spreading out in all directions. This power was soundless and formless, so no one could discover it. This spiritual wave crashed towards the rock giant in front of them. Dong! Immediately, the power of this collision was extremely terrifying. It was like a huge hammer hammering into the depths of the rock giant's soul, causing it to feel dizzy. The rock giant, who was originally majestic, had no power to resist such an attack. It held its head and rolled on the ground, howling crazily, as if it had suffered great pain. The surrounding mountains, trees, and rocks were all destroyed by the rock giant's rolling. It was as if they had been crushed into a flat land. The power was amazing. What's going on? Many rock giants were stunned. They had no idea what had happened to their companion. It had clearly not come into contact with this human, but it had fallen to the ground and howled in pain. The surrounding monsters were also stunned. No one knew better than them how terrifying the rock giant was. Its strength was unparalleled, and its defense was off the charts. No matter how they attacked it, it would be fine. This was an extremely difficult opponent to deal with. But now, it had been defeated by this human without a sound. It was too strange. That's right, a spiritual attack. This must be a spiritual attack. A strange light flashed in Qing Wan's beautiful eyes. Tu Linglong asked curiously, a spiritual attack? The rock giant is extremely powerful. Its entire body is made up of rocks. Even if a rock is broken, they can pick up the gravel on the ground and integrate it into their body to recover quickly. Physical attacks are almost useless against them. Qing Wan explained. But this doesn't mean that the incomparably powerful rock giant has no weaknesses. Their weakness is their soul. They lack a way to deal with spiritual attacks. This human found the weakness of the rock giant and targeted it. With one attack, it was immediately effective. She praised in her heart. This human was indeed extraordinary. In a short period of contact, he immediately found the weakness of the rock giant. With such battle wisdom alone, he was above countless people. Of course, even if he found the opponent's weakness, he might not be able to do it. After all, spiritual attacks were high-level martial arts skills. It could only be performed by creatures with extremely powerful soul power. Without enough talent, it was simply wishful thinking to want to shake the soul of the rock giant. Go to hell! At this moment, Xiaoping no longer had any intention of dodging. He directly rushed forward. In the eyes of others, this was simply a moth flying into the fire. He was digging his own grave. But this group of rock giant was extremely terrified. They knew that this human had mastered the power to restrain the rock giant. It was simply a piece of cake for him to deal with them. Boom! In an instant, the power of the soul-sucking bell exploded. Like waves, circles of tremors, with Xia Ping's body as the center, swept in all directions. These rock giant tried to escape, but there was no way. Even if they were extremely fast, how could they compare to the speed of the transmission of spiritual power? In an instant, the spiritual power bombarded the souls of these rock giant. Ah! Within the coverage of the spiritual power, all the rock giant let out shrill screams. It was as if their souls were ruthlessly smashed by a giant axe, and could no longer be repaired. With a thud, their huge bodies fell to the ground. The cluster of soul fire in the depths of their eye sockets was also extinguished. Chapter 949. Damn it! This human has grasped the weakness of our stone giants. How is that possible? Although the soul is our weakness, it's impossible for ordinary mind attacks to shake our souls. That's right. In order to overcome this weakness, who knows how much cultivation we've put in? I can only say that this human soul is extremely powerful. Even the souls of the stone giants are far inferior. Quick run. We can't fight to the death with this human. Otherwise, we'll all be wiped out. Return to the encampment immediately, and report this to the elder. Seeing dozens of stone giants killed at the same time, their soul flames extinguished, the surviving stone giants in the distance all revealed expressions of shock and anger. They also felt the gap between them. Xia Ping, who had mastered mind attack mystic arts, was the bane of their race. If they continued fighting, they would only die a violent death. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, they made a prompt decision, turned around and ran. Because these stone giants were too huge, they were over 100 meters tall. Once they started running, ordinary people couldn't catch up at all. In a few breaths, they had run more than 5 kilometers. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from everyone's sight. No way, the stone giants were scared off just like that. The demons who were still fleeing were all dumbfounded when they saw this. They never expected that the stone giants, who had been chasing them to the ends of the earth, would be defeated by Xia Ping and be scared shitless. For a moment, they thought they were hallucinating. Hello everyone. Xia Ping stepped forward and greeted the demons present. Now that these stone giants have all scrammed, we can have a good talk. Talk my ass. A demon cursed. It had nothing to talk about with humans. If they didn't fight to the death when they met, it would be considered a good relationship. How could they even talk? Wasn't this nonsense? Before it could finish speaking, Xia Ping made a grabbing motion in the air, and a huge hand of gang energy condensed in midair. Just like how Buddha captured Sun Wukong, the demon was instantly caught. Bang! Immediately, the demon was smashed to the ground like a broken sack, creating a deep pit. Its skin cracked and blood flowed out of its 7 orifices. Clearly, it had been severely injured. What did you just say? My hearing isn't very good. Can you try saying it again? Xia Ping smiled as he looked at the half-dead demon at his feet. He did not seem to have any killing intent. The demon was in so much pain that he couldn't say a word. He felt as though all the nerves in his body were being bitten by ants, as though he had been subjected to unprecedented torture. When it saw Xia Ping's calm eyes, it was immediately scared to the point of pissing its pants. It was as if it was being stared at by the Grim Reaper. For a moment, it didn't dare to say anything tough, for fear of being killed by Xia Ping with a single slap. Where do you want to escape to? With a whoosh, Xia Ping's figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of a rabbit demon who was trying to sneak away. He lifted her up with one hand and made her struggle in midair. Ah, human demon king, let me go. Let me go. Tu Linglong was so angry that her face turned red, and she kept struggling. However, Xia Ping's earth qi instantly seeped into her body and immediately disintegrated the demonic power in her body, making her unable to exert any strength. She was extremely sad and indignant. Being carried in midair by a human was a great humiliation to the rabbit race's holy maiden. What a fast speed! Qing Wan, who was at the side, was also shocked. Tu Linglong was by her side just now, But when Xiaoping arrived, she only realized that Xiaoping had arrived. But it was already too late. Tu Linglong was immediately captured by the human. Sister Qingyuan, save me. Tu Linglong cried for help. Human, let her go. Qingyuan shouted and slapped over with a hand that was like white jade. It looked abnormally beautiful, but it contained a terrifying might. The entire air seemed to be blown up by this hand. Even though she had lost 50% of her combat power, with the bloodline of a divine beast, her strength and speed were far superior to ordinary demon beasts. She had an overwhelming advantage. Facing this palm, Xiaoping did not dodge. He circulated the dark north body protection technique, and immediately condensed a huge energy barrier around his body that flowed like water. Dong! The Vajra's palm slapped Xiaoping's body fiercely, causing a roaring shock. It was like the morning bell and evening drum, and the surrounding air exploded one after another. What? It didn't have any effect. Qingyuan was shocked. Even a demon at the peak of the Grand Master realm would not dare to take this peerless palm of hers casually. Once it was received, it would either be dead or injured. But now this human was actually unscathed. It was too exaggerated. Boom! At this moment Xiaoping punched out. His right fist blasted out and smashed on Qingyuan's flat abdomen. Immediately, Qingyuan could not withstand this tremendous force and fell to the ground, weak and powerless. Previously, she was severely injured by the rock giant, and this time, she was punched by Xiaoping. She had no strength left in her body and fainted on the spot. Sister Qingyuan, Tu Linglong exclaimed. She looked at Xiaoping angrily. Damn human! How dare you hurt Sister Qingyuan? I'm not done with you. She kept struggling, trying to cause great trouble for Xiaoping. Be quiet. If you make any more noise, I'll eat you, the barbecued kind. Xiaoping glared at Tu Linglong. Suddenly, this glare scared Tu Linglong so much that she did not dare to speak again, for fear that this human demon king would eat her and Sister Qingyuan. The surrounding demons were very angry. This human did not know how to have tender and protective feelings for the fairer sex. It was outrageous that the dignified demon saintess was treated like this. They could not wait to rush up and fight to the death with this human. But after weighing the gap between them, they did not dare to act rashly. Run! At this moment, a Grand Master Eagle demon flapped its wings and flew high. It fled toward the sky at the speed of a supersonic plane, leaving a white trace in the sky. It was trying to escape from Xiaoping's evil rule. It could not fall into the hands of this evil human. Want to run? Xiaoping was expressionless. In an instant he took out a precious bow, the moon shooting bow. He drew the bow and arrow, condensed the Gang Qi into an arrow, and shot it out at lightning speed. The arrow tore through the air, whistling, and locked on to the eagle demon's qi. Dong! In the next second, the eagle demon's wing was instantly hit, and its huge body flew out. A few seconds later, it was nailed to a huge mountain wall in the distance. Blood dripped from the wound. Even if it wanted to struggle, it could not escape from the arrow. Chapter 950. Feeling Xiaoping's strong murderous aura, the surrounding monsters couldn't help but shiver. They all knew that this human wasn't joking. This guy could do anything. Thinking of this, they all became extremely angry. They just got rid of the rock giant's pursuit, but now they fell into the hands of this hateful human. They really left the wolf's den and entered the tiger's den. They were extremely unlucky. They had no choice but to gather in front of Xiaoping. They didn't dare to run anymore. Human, what do you want? A monster asked in a trembling voice. If Xiaoping really wanted to kill them, he could have done it just now. But this human didn't do anything. So he must have some ulterior motives. It's very simple. Xiaoping didn't beat around the bush. He said straightforwardly, I just came to this space, so I don't know much about this place. What is this so-called space? How can this place help people advance to the king realm? He voiced out his doubts. Hearing this, many monsters became silent. Their eyes flickered, as if they didn't want to say it. After all, this was one of the biggest secrets of the monster clan. How could they casually say it? Most importantly, if they were to divulge this secret, then wouldn't that bastard of a human come and snatch away their fortuitous encounters? This kind of thing, like funding the enemy, was absolutely not something that could be done. Little maid, what do you know? Xiaoping looked at Tu Linglong with a malicious expression. He felt that this girl would be the easiest to get information from. I don't know anything. Just give up. I won't tell you anything. Being looked at by Xiaoping like this, Tu Linglong was scared, but she was still very stubborn. She definitely wouldn't say anything. No matter what, she was the saintess of the Wanyao Mountain. She would never betray the monster clan. Forget it. Looking at you, I know you don't know anything. It's a waste of energy to ask. Before Tu Linglong finished speaking, Xiaoping waved his hand. He thought that Tu Linglong probably didn't know anything, and was just a puppet. What? Hearing this, Tu Linglong was instantly angered. Her pretty face turned red. Shameless human, what do you mean? Are you looking down on me? As the demon race's saintess, she had a high status, and was revered by countless demons. However, this bastard actually looked down on her, thinking that she was just a puppet saintess. He was looking down on her too much. As the demon race's saintess, she couldn't accept it. Hey, what are you doing? Why did you pick up Sister Blue Phoenix? At first, Tu Linglong wanted to yell at Xiaoping and teach him a lesson. As a saintess, her status was quite high. She was definitely not a puppet saintess who knew nothing. But she soon discovered that Xiaoping didn't pay attention to her. Instead, he carried up Qing Wan, who had fainted on the ground, looking like he wanted to lift his feet and leave. Instantly, she became anxious and stepped forward to stop him. Why are you carrying me? Of course we'll go to a remote cave and wake her up. Then we'll torture her and force out information about this trial space. Xiaoping explained his series of plans. This chick is a divine beast. I don't know how much higher her status is than a rabbit like you. She definitely knows a lot of things. Torture. Hearing these words, Tu Linglong almost went crazy. Right now, Big Sister Blue Luan was in a coma. So how was this shameless human going to torture Big Sister Blue Luan? This shameless human must have taken a fancy to Sister Qing Wan's beauty, and his lust was aroused. Thinking about Bai Ri Xian, he couldn't control his beastly nature, and wanted to find a cave nearby to solve the problem. Thinking about the pure, flawless, noble, and elegant Sister Blue Phoenix being raped by this animal human, and waking up with a dead heart, Tu Linglong felt that she was going crazy. She absolutely couldn't allow such a thing to happen. When the other demons saw this situation, they immediately knew what this animal human wanted to do. However, they couldn't do anything, and could only watch the demon race's saintess being bullied by this human. Some demons thought even further. If because of this matter, the demon race's saintess and this human got together, and gave birth to a half-human half-demon descendant, the entire Wanyao Mountain would probably be shaken. Animal. Tu Linglong gritted her teeth. Her beautiful eyes were spewing fire. She simply wanted to eat Xiaoping like a meat bun. Alright, I don't want to chat with a little girl like you. Time is precious. I have to do something quickly. Xiaoping waved his hand. He didn't care about Tu Linglong's anger. He wanted to carry Blue Phoenix and run away. Stop! Tu Linglong immediately jumped over and opened her arms to block Xiaoping. I won't let you bully Sister Blue Phoenix. Don't you want to know the secret of this trial space? I can tell you everything, but you can't bully Sister Blue Phoenix. She revealed an expression of serving a tiger with her body. She had already made up her mind. Forget it. Xiaoping looked at Tu Linglong with disdain. What can a little girl like you know? You must be lying. You want to fabricate nonsense. Do you think I will fall for it? Don't use your barren brain to measure my intelligence. Do you understand? He looked down on Tu Linglong. Human, don't go too far. Tu Linglong was going crazy. What do I have to do to make you believe me? She was fuming with anger. She clearly wanted to expose the secret, but this human didn't believe her at all. He thought she was fabricating nonsense. If he really was intelligent, how could he not tell whether she was telling the truth or not? This human was clearly doing this on purpose. His goal was to bully Sister Blue Phoenix. Alright. Xiaoping raised his brows. Since you've said that, I'll be merciful and listen to what you have to say. Remember, don't make things up. Any lies will be seen through by my wise eyes. He warned Tu Linglong. Don't worry, I definitely won't lie, Tu Linglong said seriously. The surrounding demons were all going crazy, especially the metal tiger, the crow of misfortune, the three-eyed giant, and the other demon race prodigies. How could they not see that this human was bluffing? His goal was to pry the secret of this trial space from Tu Linglong's mouth. Now, Tu Linglong had been fooled by this shameless human. The problem was, even if they knew the human's true goal, they couldn't stop him. If any of them dared to speak up, they would most likely be killed by this human. They could feel the faint killing intent from Xiaoping's body. This was an overt scheme, using force to suppress others. Chapter 951. This trial space is actually a small secret realm, Tu Linglong said. Tu Linglong said, it was created by the ancient mighty figures of our demon race. There are a total of 5 major races living in this small secret realm, and they are the Blackwood race, the Rock Giant race, the Mech race, the Drought Demon race, and the Slime race. These 5 races are not from the Cloud Realm. The ancient almighty of the demon clan personally traveled through the void and went to various planets to capture them. According to you humans, they are all aliens. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. Although he knew that the creatures in this trial space were not simple, he did not expect that they were not native to the Cloud Realm, but from other planets. Why did the ancient almighty of the demon clan capture the 5 races and bring them to this secret realm? Xiaoping asked. If the 5 races did not have a huge secret, they would not have been targeted by the ancient almighty of the demon clan. The reason is simple, Tu Linglong said in a low voice, because the 5 races all have special abilities. They control the power of wood, earth, metal, fire, and water respectively. The 5 races represent the power of the 5 elements. Xiaoping did not speak, and continued to listen to Tu Linglong. Of course, controlling the power of the 5 elements is nothing. Many monsters in the Myriad Monster Mountain can also control it, Tu Linglong said. The problem is that they have another special ability, and that is to cultivate spirit fruits. Wherever they live, there will be extremely precious spirit fruits. They are the wood spirit fruit, earth spirit fruit, metal spirit fruit, fire spirit fruit, and water spirit fruit. Every single one of the spirit fruits on the list contains a huge amount of energy. Consuming one of them will bring great benefits. If you can gather all 5 spirit fruits and consume them at the same time, the 5 elements will merge into one, and you will be able to raise your life to the king realm, no matter how weak you are. She said that the most precious secret of this trial space was the 5 spirit fruits. If you could obtain all 5 spirit fruits and consume them at the same time, you would be able to break through to the king realm and open all your acupoints. The 5 spirit fruits. The 3 human grandmasters were tempted when they heard this. The bottleneck that had troubled them for so long could be broken through by consuming a few spirit fruits. It was really unbelievable. However, this wasn't a joke. After all, the heavens and the earth were vast, and there was nothing that didn't exist. Even spirit fruits that could assist one in breaking through into the king realm definitely existed. No way 5 elements spiritual fruit. In this countryside, there is actually a 5 elements spirit fruit? Corinne, who had been staying on Xiaoping's body, immediately cried out in alarm when he heard these words. What? Are the 5 elements spirit fruits very precious in the universe? Xiaoping's heart moved and he immediately asked. Corinne nodded his head. Of course it's precious. Even Zifu realm, divine power realm cultivators are eager to get 5 elements spirit fruit. It can greatly enhance their magic power and save them several hundred years of cultivation time. Such a precious spirit fruit would be coveted even in the universe. Using it to break through to the king realm is a matter of course. However, doing this is simply a waste of God's given gifts. It represented the Blackwood race, the Rock Giant race, the Metal Machine race, the Drought Demon race, and the Slime race. Even in the universe, they were all rather tyrannical races. The spirit fruits cultivated by these races were basically hard to come by. Now someone actually dared to capture these 5 races, lock them up in a secret realm, and specifically produce spirit fruits for them as slaves. This courage was simply terrifying. If the leaders of these 5 races came to know about this, it was estimated that even if they were separated by hundreds of millions of light years, they would personally come to kill them. They wouldn't rest until they exterminated the enemy. Remember, you must obtain these 5 elements spirit fruits. They will greatly speed up your cultivation, Corinne excitedly said. I originally thought that in such a poor and remote place, there wouldn't be any treasures. Even if I wanted to advance to a higher realm, I don't know how many years it would take. Now that you have the 5 elements spirit fruits, you will really be rich. The resources you will get will not be inferior to those disciples of big sections. He reminded Xiaoping to obtain the 5 elements spirit fruits. Where can I get these 5 elements spirit fruits? Xiaoping asked. Tu Linglong said. It's in the internal orchard of these 5 races. That place is heavily guarded and tightly guarded. It's not that easy to get in. Previously, we tried to enter the rock giant tribe, but we were immediately discovered by them. As a result, we were chased for dozens of kilometers and almost killed. She was very helpless. She originally thought that since the rock giant was huge, and they were very small, they wouldn't be discovered by the rock giant if they quietly entered. This was the easiest kind of spirit fruit to obtain. But who would have thought that these rock giants were extremely cautious and proficient in secret techniques? Even if a fly flew past, it would be detected by them. As a result, they were miserable. If Xiaoping hadn't come to this place, it was estimated that more than half of them would have died. The 5 elements spirit fruits can only be found in the encampments of these 5 races. The 3 human grandmasters were also silent. This was the real trial of this trial space. After seeing the Blackwood race and the rock giant race, they knew how tyrannical these 5 races were. Wanting to enter deep into their encampments to obtain spirit fruits was as difficult as ascending to heaven. It was no wonder that these demon race prodigies entered this trial space without obtaining anything. This was also a matter of course. Then do you know how to leave this trial space? Asked Xiaoping. The eyes of the 3 human grandmasters lit up. This was the most crucial question. Even if they couldn't obtain the 5 elements spirit fruit, they could still leave this damned place safely. There's only one way. Tu Linglong stretched out a finger. That is to advance to the king realm. There's no other way. What do you mean? Lu Qi couldn't help but ask. It means exactly what it says. This space is simply a cage used to trap the 5 races and prevent them from leaving. Naturally, there's no exit. Tu Linglong said. But this is also the trial space of our demon race, so it can't possibly trap the descendants of the demon race. So an ancient almighty has set up a rule of heaven and earth in this space. Only by advancing to the king realm and exceeding the limits of this world will one be automatically expelled and leave this trial space. Apart from that, one will either be killed by the 5 races or die of old age in this place. So that's how it is. Xiaoping came to a sudden understanding. This was why those who didn't advance to the king realm would definitely die in this trial space. If one didn't advance to the king realm, it was impossible to leave even if one wanted to. Chapter 952. Have you found the nests of the 5 major races? Xiaoping asked. Tu Linglong said helplessly. So far, we can only find the nests of the rock giants. We haven't found the nests of the other races yet. After all, we haven't had enough time. Okay. Xiaoping nodded and gave an order. Then your next job is to find the nests of these races. As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will always be victorious. What? Many of the monsters' faces turned green. What did this bastard human mean? He even said that their next job was to find the nests of the 5 major races. What did he think they were? Servants of this human that could be ordered around by him. What's wrong? What are you dissatisfied with? I personally saved your lives, and now I'm just asking you to do some small things. Do you think I'm wronging you? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and revealed a dangerous glint. Save my ass. The group of demons was infuriated. Although it seemed like the outcome, they did not ask the human to save them at all. Most importantly, this human definitely didn't want to save them. It was just a coincidence. Even so, they still dared to come and ask for credit. Did they have any shame? However, in the face of Xiaoping's bullying, they didn't dare to say anything. Not at all. Not at all. That's right. Anyway, finding the nests of the 5 major races is our job. This is Brother Xia's request. How could we dare to disobey? The monsters were extremely sullen. They covered their conscience and spoke. Very good. Xiaoping nodded with satisfaction. Now let's find a place to rest for the time being. He waved his hand and planned to find a temporary foothold in this mystic realm. At this moment, the big shots of the Blackwood race, Rock Giant race, Metal Machine race, Drought Demon race, and Slime race gathered together. This time, we called everyone here for no other reason than that those bastards of the monster race came again and tried to snatch our 5 elements spirit fruit. There was even an accident this time. Some humans also came, and one of them posed a huge threat to our Blackwood race. A 100-meter-tall black tree stood on the ground, its black roots piercing into the ground. A black aura permeated the surroundings, corroding the ground in a radius of tens of meters. From afar it looked like a shadow. This was the leader of the Blackwood tribe. At this moment, his face was extremely gloomy. The death of hundreds of his tribesmen was something the Blackwood tribe couldn't bear. Leader Blackwood, what can mere humans do? Isn't it because your Blackwood tribe is too weak that you were beaten to the point of fleeing like rats, resulting in countless casualties? The one who spoke was the Drought Demon tribe's leader. Its entire body was pitch black like a dried corpse. It wore a Taoist robe, and its surroundings were suffused with a scorching aura. The ground was immediately scorched black. This was also the result of the Drought Demon leader controlling his own power. If he used his full power, everything within a dozen miles would be scorched. It would be like a drought. The Blackwood race was also a wood-type race, so they were naturally averse to the Drought Demon race. The two races rarely interacted, and once they met, they couldn't help but oppose each other. The Blackwood leader's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as he stared at the Drought Demon leader. Enough, don't quarrel. The Rock Giant leader spoke. We, the Rock Giants, encountered this human not long ago. He has mastered a secret mental technique that restrains our Rock Giant race. In the end, dozens of Rock Giants were killed by that human. He can't be underestimated. Its expression was solemn as it acted as a mediator, advising the leaders of the two races. As soon as the Rock Giant leader spoke, the Blackwood leader and the Drought Demon tribe leader both coldly snorted. But they didn't continue to oppose each other. This showed the Rock Giant leader's might. Even the Rock Giant leader says so. It seems this human is no small matter. The metal robot leader spoke. Its appearance was like a skeleton, and it was completely made of metal. When it spoke, its voice resounded like metal rubbing against each other. Its eyes seemed to be flickering with lightning energy, emitting a deep blue radiance. That's right. That human must be captured and killed. Otherwise, he will spoil our plans of many years. The Blackwood leader's killing intent soared. I suggest that the 5 major races send out experts to conduct a carpet search until that human is completely annihilated. It wanted to use the power of the 5 major races to deal with that hateful human together. The 5 major races send out experts? Aren't you thinking too highly of that human? The Drought Demon tribe leader still felt that this was making a mountain out of a molehill. No, it's not making a mountain out of a molehill at all. Even a lion will use its full strength to capture a rabbit. The Rock Giant leader spoke in a deep voice. My Rock Giant race can send out 1,000 elite soldiers. It supported the Blackwood leader's request. My Metal Robot race can also send out 1,000 elite soldiers. The Metal Robot leader spoke calmly. It was very simple and direct, just like a robot. If it agreed, it agreed. If it rejected, it rejected. It definitely wouldn't be ambiguous. Slime leader, what do you think? The Rock Giant leader looked at the slime leader in front of it. This slime leader didn't have eyes, mouth, or ears. It was just a blob of green liquid about the size of a basketball. This slime leader looked weak, but these leaders all knew that this slime leader was the most terrifying creature. Once touched by a slime, it would instantly envelop the enemy's body, and within a few breaths, the enemy would be completely corroded. Moreover, it was in a liquid state. Normal physical attacks had almost no effect on it. I have no objections. I agree with everyone's opinion. The slime leader spoke. However, it didn't speak. Instead, it transmitted its voice telepathically into everyone's mind. One couldn't hear any emotions from its voice at all. What about the Drought Demon Tribe leader? The rock giant leader looked at the Drought Demon Tribe leader. Since even the slime leader has agreed, then there's no point in me refusing. The Drought Demon Tribe leader snorted coldly. It didn't refuse anymore. After all, the 4 leaders had agreed to this. Even if it stubbornly resisted, it would be meaningless. And most importantly, if that human really had such a threatening ability, then eradicating him now might not be a bad thing. That's good, the Blackwood leader said excitedly. There's no time to lose. I suggest starting tomorrow. We definitely can't give that hateful human a chance to breathe. Chapter 953. Late at night. In a secluded cave. This cave was extremely large, with many twists and turns. There were also many small caves in it. Many monsters chose a small cave at random to rest in. Tu Linglong also chose a small cave to take care of the unconscious Cyan Luan. At this time, Xiaoping was also at the entrance of the deepest cave, which was blocked with rocks to avoid being disturbed by others. At this moment, he sat cross-legged on the ground and ran the pure yang immortal technique. The Gang Qi in his body roared and vibrated. With his body as the center, it immediately formed a huge vortex of primordial qi. It's time to break through to the 7th heaven of supreme power realm. Xiaoping clenched his fists. Seeing the power of the Blackwood clan and the Rock Giant clan, he knew that it was not so easy to get the 5 elements spirit fruit in this trial space. With his current strength, it was far from enough. He had to further improve his martial arts cultivation. Moreover, he felt that after these days of consolidation and cultivation, the bottleneck of his martial arts was getting looser and looser. More importantly, the purple blood ginseng and silver fruit he had taken before still contained a lot of medicinal power in his body. Now, after continuous refining and absorption, they were transformed into the Gang Qi in his body. The Gang Qi in his body surged like a flood without a dam, surging wildly in every meridian in his body. It was also like a dragon rioting in his body, roaring. Bang! Bang! Xiaoping felt his body tremble. One by one, his acupoints were broken by the surging Gang Qi. In just a few breaths, he had opened 5 or 6 acupoints in a row. It's not enough. I have to take a lot of spiritual liquid. Soon, Xiaoping found that the purple blood ginseng and silver fruit, in the depths of his body, were almost consumed, and could not support him to continue to break through the remaining acupoints. But it didn't matter. From the Shark Demon King's lair, he not only got a lot of purple blood ginseng and silver fruit, but also a lot of spiritual liquid. This spiritual liquid also contained a lot of energy, which was of great benefit to a guru. Rumble! Xiaoping immediately swallowed the spiritual liquid. He ran the pure yang immortal technique, and quickly digested the energy of the spiritual liquid, and transformed it into Gang Qi. What a rich energy! Xiaoping perked up and inwardly marveled. As expected of the spirit liquid from the Shark Demon Monarch, anything produced by a demon monarch must be of high quality. After taking it, the spiritual liquid provided a large amount of energy to his body. It was like filling up a car with gasoline, and he could drive it to full speed in an instant. Bang bang! In the blink of an eye, Xiaoping felt that the remaining acupoints were easily broken through by the huge energy, and he was promoted to the 7th level of supreme power in an instant. This kind of breakthrough was like water flowing when the conditions were right. This is the 7th heaven of supreme power? Xiaoping felt as though he had entered a whole new realm. Every one of his insight acupoints felt as though there was a golden crow of hell residing there. This was an illusion formed from countless streams of fiery astral energy. If someone could look within themselves, they would see that the golden crows of hell seemed to have gained a trace of spirituality. Their eyes seemed to have intelligence, as if they were about to come to life. He felt that his control over his stellar energy had increased to a whole new level. With a casual grab, his stellar energy vibrated, and a flaming bird condensed above his right hand. It seemed like it was about to flap its wings and fly away. Fly! Xiaoping's spiritual force penetrated into it and seemed to be integrated with the flaming bird, making it produce a trace of spirituality. With a wave of his hand, the flaming bird flew out. With a few whooshes, the flaming bird hovered in the air with a zigzag trajectory. In an instant, it smashed toward a stone wall in the distance. With a bang, the flaming bird smashed a big hole in an instant. The flames burned, and even the rocks were burned into lava. The temperature of the cave was also rising sharply. My spiritual force has also increased. Xiaoping closed his eyes and felt that his spiritual force was also 3 times stronger than before. It continued to spread out, and the area within a radius of 20 or 30 miles was covered by his spiritual force. Within this range, no flying insect, bird, or beast could hide from his perception. He was like a god. What is this? Xiaoping felt the wonderful spread of his spiritual force. However, when he gathered all his spiritual force in his body and penetrated into every cell of his body, it finally reached his brain. He immediately discovered that in the depths of his brain, there seemed to be a purple door that had appeared out of thin air. It was engraved with many noble and ancient inscriptions, and it was mysterious and unfathomable. It lay across the void of his brain, and it was indomitable. It was obstructing him from exploring the deepest part of his brain. Previously, Xiaoping was unable to discover the existence of this purple door. It seemed that only when one's spiritual force reached a certain realm would one be qualified to discover the existence of this domain. Purple Palace, could this be the legendary Purple Palace? Xiaoping's spiritual force shook. He instinctively sensed that this might be the legendary Purple Palace. This was the most profound and mysterious domain of the human body. Once the Purple Palace was established, one would be able to condense magic power and advance to the King realm. However, establishing the Purple Palace was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Not to mention anything else, just sensing the existence of the Purple Palace was impossible for ordinary martial artists. If one could sense the existence of the Purple Palace, then it would be possible for him to break through to the King realm. I wonder if I can establish the Purple Palace now, Xiaoping thought in his heart. He let his imagination run wild. He circulated the spiritual force in his body and transformed it into a spear. He fiercely smashed it towards the purple door. Bang! This collision caused his entire body to tremble, and even his soul to tremble. It could be said that the strength of this strike was extremely terrifying. It struck the purple door to the point it droned and shook without end. However, this purple door was too hard, so even if it suffered such a terrifying attack, it wasn't damaged in the slightest. It was even to the extent that a terrifying backlash came from it. Pooh! Xiaoping felt the backlash, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His countenance was ghastly pale as his blood sprayed all over the ground. The hot blood that sprayed onto the ground was simply like lava that sizzled and emanated strands of white smoke. This won't do. It's slightly difficult to establish the Purple Palace now. Xiaoping felt that the purple door in the depths of his brain was extremely heavy, and even with his formidable spiritual force, it was impossible for him to shake it in a short period of time. No matter what, he was only at the 7th level of the Grandmaster realm, so wanting to establish the Purple Palace now was truly looking down upon the King realm. But this is a good thing as well. Xiaoping quickly became excited. He'd obtained from Corinne that sensing the existence of the Purple Palace was already the first step into the King realm, and countless grandmasters had fallen at this level. Chapter 954. The next morning, only then did Qing Wan wake up. She opened her beautiful eyes and immediately saw Tu Linglong, whose eyes were red and had not slept for the whole night. Sister Qing Wan, that's great. You're finally awake. Tu Linglong saw Qing Wan wake up and immediately shouted in surprise. Linglong, are you all right? Where's that human? Qing Wan looked around vigilantly. At the last moment before she fainted, she remembered that she was knocked out by that hateful human. And at that time, her aura was completely suppressed by that human Xiaoping, and none of the monsters dared to resist. The situation was so critical. But what was going on now? She didn't seem to be hurt at all. And Tu Linglong also didn't seem to be abused and bullied by that hateful human. I am fine. Tu Linglong stuttered, her eyes flickered. She didn't dare to tell Qing Wan that in order to save her, she foolishly revealed the biggest secret of the path of the Demon King, and became a traitor of the demon race. How can you be fine? Did that human bully you? I'll deal with him immediately, even if I have to pay with my life. Qing Wan gritted her teeth, endured the pain in her body, and struggled to get up. No, Sister Qing Wan, it's not what you think. Seeing Qing Wan like this, Tu Linglong knew that Qing Wan must have misunderstood something. She quickly told Qing Wan the truth, and stopped her from getting up, lest her injuries continue to worsen. So that's how it is. After hearing Tu Linglong's words, Qing Wan immediately heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Tu Linglong wasn't bullied by that beast of a human, everything could be salvaged. Sister Qing Wan, don't you blame me for revealing the biggest secret of this trial mystic realm? Tu Linglong was like a child who had done something wrong, lowering her head and looking very depressed. No, I don't blame you at all. Qing Wan shook her head. According to this human's intelligence, I believe that as long as he stays in this trial space for a little longer, he will eventually reveal the secret of this trial space. This can't be stopped at all. And there are many monsters participating in this trial. Not all of them are upright and plain-spoken. There will always be a few monsters who reveal the secret of the path of the Demon King in order to save their lives. Even if you didn't say it, it doesn't mean that other monsters won't say it. So, you don't have to blame yourself for this. She comforted the dejected Tu Linglong, telling her that it wasn't her fault, and that she had made the best choice out of her last resort. But, Tu Linglong looked at the blue Luan eagerly. Qing Wan waved her hand. No buts. In short, this matter is not your fault. At least you saved my life. Isn't that your greatest contribution this time? By the way, where is that human? She tried to change the topic, not wanting to get entangled in this matter any longer. As expected, Tu Linglong was immediately fooled. She said angrily, I don't know. Last night, he locked himself in a cave and didn't come out at all. He was very mysterious. I don't know what he's up to. Sister Blue Phoenix, you also know that this human is full of evil tricks. In the human world, he is also an existence that everyone wants to beat up. He is an existence that is hated by all. For him to not cause trouble for one night, he must be brewing some big scheme. Her impression of Xia Ping was simply extremely bad. She didn't have a good impression of him at all. She thought that he might be brewing some evil scheme, just by resting peacefully for one night. The legendary great demons were like this. If they didn't scheme against people every day, they would feel uncomfortable all over. This was already a habit that was deeply rooted in their bones, and it couldn't be changed at all. Is that so? Why don't I know that I'm an existence that everyone wants to beat up in the human world? Who exactly is gossiping around you? Tell me his identity immediately, and I promise I won't beat him to death. Immediately a voice sounded. Tu Linglong originally wanted to continue cursing that demon human, but she suddenly heard this demon-like familiar voice. She immediately jumped in fright. She turned around, and immediately saw Xia Ping in front of her. Ah! Tu Linglong was immediately startled. Why are you here? Aren't you still staying in seclusion in the depths of the cave? Why are you here? Could it be that you want to attack Sister Blue Phoenix at night, when I'm not prepared? Various evil scenes appeared in her little head, including Xia Ping doing all kinds of indescribable things to Sister Blue Phoenix, who was sleeping soundly without any resistance. Bang! Before she could finish speaking, Xia Ping stretched out his right hand and knocked Tu Linglong's little head forcefully. Don't change the topic. Where did you get this false information from? Tu Linglong covered her head that was almost swollen. She was in so much pain that she almost cried. This bastard human was really too ruthless. He didn't have the slightest tenderness for the fairer sex at all. Don't touch Linglong. The blue one struggled, and in the blink of an eye, she kicked towards Xia Ping. Her slender white legs streaked across the air, forming a beautiful arc that was dazzling to the eyes. Not bad. As expected of a divine beast's physique. It's only been one night, and her injuries have recovered to this extent. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and immediately sensed that the injuries on the Blue Phoenix's body were actually almost healed. She had clearly suffered extremely serious injuries before, but with the help of the healing power in her body, her injuries were almost healed in one night. This self-healing ability was far above that of countless demons. However, although he was praising her, he had no intention of showing mercy. Dong. Xia Ping gently patted with his hand, like an eagle catching a chick, and instantly grabbed the long leg of the Blue Phoenix. The tyrannical Gang Qi immediately offset the huge demonic power on the Blue Phoenix. The two collided, and immediately burst out a loud sound. The sound waves vibrated, and the dust rolled. How is it possible? In just one night, your martial arts cultivation has improved again? Blue Phoenix was stunned. She had just fought with Xia Ping yesterday. Although Xia Ping was also strong at that time, he was the most terrifying one today. The Gang Qi on his body was incredibly strong, and he easily dissolved all the demonic power in her body. It was as unfathomable as the sea. This was something that Xia Ping could not compare with yesterday. Yes, I have been promoted to the 7th heaven of Supreme Power Realm. Xia Ping looked at the Blue Phoenix and said, "You're quite bold. You even dare to attack me. It seems that if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know who the master of this place is." There was a dangerous light in his eyes. What do you want? Chapter 955. Don't tell me you don't know what I want to do? Xia Ping sneered and looked Qing Wan up and down. The look in his eyes became more and more dangerous. It's over. This time it's completely over. This is clearly going to be fucked. Tu Linglong's face turned pale. She could completely see through this shameless human's evil thoughts. Because of her obstruction yesterday, this beast's beastly nature was suppressed for an entire night. However, a beast was still a beast. How could he be suppressed for a lifetime? Perhaps enduring for one night was this shameless human's limit. Don't act recklessly. I'm the saintess of the 1,000 Goblin Mountain. If you dare to do anything to me, the 1,000 Goblin Mountain will never let you go. Qing Wan pretended to be fierce. She grabbed onto the last straw and hoped that Xia Ping wouldn't act rashly. Otherwise, it would definitely create a huge rift between the human and the Yao race. It's none of my business. If you have the guts, ask those Yao kings to bite me. Xia Ping was very disdainful. Bastard human. Qing Wan now understood why Sister Linglong hated this human so much. This bastard human was extremely daring and didn't care about the consequences when he did things. Obviously, he also wouldn't care about her identity as the saintess of the 1,000 Goblin Mountain. If he really had some considerations, this brat wouldn't have dared to capture the descendants of the Yao kings and even auction them on the spot. This human was simply a lawless person. Now she actually fell into this human's hands. This was simply 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Demon human, didn't you promise me that as long as I told you the secret of the Yao King's path, you wouldn't bully Sister Qing Wan? Tu Linglong glared at Xia Ping angrily, thinking that this human didn't keep his promise. I did, but seeing your arrogant attitudes, I decided to temporarily change my mind. Xia Ping revealed a look as if it was all their fault. Since you angered me, you must pay the price. This is the first precious life principle that I'll teach you too. I hope you can cherish it. And little maid, don't even think about escaping this time. What? Tu Linglong's pretty face turned pale. What did this human mean? She couldn't even think about escaping. Could it be that this human thought that Sister Qing Wan alone couldn't satisfy him, and he already wanted to lay his hands on her? A virgin? This time, he wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Did he want the 2 of them to serve 1 man? Thinking of this, she spat on the ground. This less human was shameless, thinking of such dirty and shameless things all day long. He didn't know how to do proper things. Sooner or later, this bastard would die on a woman's belly. Evidently, Qing Wan had the same thoughts. Her beautiful eyes were filled with fury. Once this bastard human dared to harm her and her sister Linglong, even if she had to pay a huge price, she would make this human suffer. She would let him clearly understand that it was not so easy to take advantage of the demon race's holy maiden. All right, I won't waste any more words with you. Let's begin. Xia Ping waved his hand, completely ignoring the furious gazes of the two saintesses, Tu Linglong and Qing Wan, and immediately attacked. First, he left the cave and took out a parcel. There were 2 sets of maid costumes inside. As for these 2 sets of maid outfits, he had inadvertently placed them in his space ring. They had not been of much use to him before, so he had forgotten about them. Now was the right time to take them out and teach the 2 saintesses a profound lesson. With a few claps, Xia Ping forced Tu Linglong and Qing Wan to change into the maid costumes. Suddenly, the temperament of the 2 changed greatly. From saintesses, they became cute little maidservants and mature and charming housekeepers. In particular, the 2 saintesses' figures were very hot. Wearing extremely close-fitting maid costumes, they could even better set off their figures. Seeing this, the male animals were dumbfounded, and their hormones increased sharply. What do you want to do to us? Tu Linglong and Qing Wan were going crazy. Their pretty faces were flushed, and they were at a loss. Wearing such clothes was really extremely shameful. This was clearly a set of clothes created by a shameless male human for his own pleasure. From head to toe, there was not the slightest sense of beauty. Especially Qing Wan. She was usually noble, generous and mature, just like an empress. Her every move was dignified and elegant, and she had accepted the etiquette of a king. When had she ever worn such shameless clothes? This had completely overturned her usual image. For her, wearing this shameful maid costume was no different from not wearing any clothes. Although Tu Linglong had also worn this set of clothes in Xia Ping's villa, now that she was wearing it again, she was reliving the humiliation from back then. This made her feel extremely ashamed, and she wanted to die from embarrassment. This is a lesson for you. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, and said indifferently, "From now on, you will be obedient maids by my side. Wash clothes, fold blankets, pour tea and pass water. You have to do everything well. Otherwise, you can imagine the consequences." He stated his requirements. Be a maid. Tu Linglong and Qing Wan were very angry. As the saintesses of the demon race, it was a basic requirement for them to not do any chores. It had always been others who served them, and they did not need to serve a man. If this was a joke, then it was a big joke. Where did this maid costume come from? Tu Linglong gritted her teeth. Xia Ping said matter-of-factly, "Of course it was brought in from outside. Pervert." Qing Wan instantly scolded. "You came into this trial space from outside, and you didn't take anything else. You actually took 2 sets of maid costumes. What are you trying to do?" She was simply crazy. She couldn't imagine it at all. One had to know how dangerous this trial space was. If you didn't become a king, you would die. The death rate was above 99%. Normal people, in order to deal with the dangers of this trial space, would bring all sorts of important resources, such as weapons, healing pills, defensive weapons, and so on. However, because people's power was limited, the things that each person could bring were extremely limited. They had to be carefully selected, but this human actually brought 2 sets of maid costumes in his bag. What kind of perverted thoughts did he have to bring these things in? What was his goal? Did he want to wear them himself? Or did he already target the 2 of them? Even she couldn't think of Xia Ping's goal. Probably even the great wisdom of Wanyao Mountain couldn't think of it. Why do you care what I want to do? Anyway, if you dare to resist, then don't blame me for being impolite. Xia Ping was very domineering. He didn't have any intentions of explaining at all. There had never been a maid who dared to question her master in front of his face. Qing Wan and Tu Linglong were very angry. This human was too domineering and unreasonable. Big Brother Xia, that you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.